Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Kata Chronicles. Hi guys, welcome back to the Kata Chronicles. This week we've got the other desolated guitarist with us.
Yes,
a man with cheekbones so sharp that Gillette want to trademark them. It is, of course, Mr. Les Law, who's just come back from a tour. So how you doing, bruv?
I am good. I'm good. I want to start by saying that Blade are the best band in UK hardcore currently.
You've got an obsession with this band. I've still not seen them.
And then secondly, I want to respond by saying, how are you?
I'm good, bruv. Yeah, I'm a bit sick, but yeah, I'm fine. How you been? How was tour?
Tour was amazing, and I was like surprised at how we're like well received. Well, not surprised, but I was like, yeah, I was surprised at how well received and how well it went. I didn't think it would go as well as it did, and it was wicked. And so I was
because I feel that like I've missed Your Demise. Like I don't remember Your Demise being that big. I remember their name being on things.
Yeah.
But I don't remember them being like that big sort of thing.
Yeah, I think it's one of them generational things. I think it's like because I'm like how old are you?
I'm 46.
Yeah, so I'm 32. So for me, when I was 15 or 16, like that was for me that was like the band. That was like the hardcore band.
Yeah.
And then so it's like, and if I'm like completely honest, it's one of my like hardcore gateway bands.
Yeah.
And then so that's like for me doing it, I'm like sick.
So how did you end up with Your Demise?
Your Demise 2004. Just want to clarify.
Yes, because there is does the other Your Demise even do anything? Like, does it exist? In any shape or form?
I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure. I don't really know. But then I know basically when mates with the St Albans lot, so there was like my local group of around like Romford and that, and then I was mates with loads of the St Albans lot, and so like I would hang around with them, and then for them, George is their older.
Right, yeah.
And then so as time sort of went on, I ended up meeting him, but it was like after.
Yeah.
And then George started Your Demise 2004 again. Initially I weren't in it. And then just like very quickly they needed a guitarist. And then because I play guitar and I like to think I'm pretty good at it, they was like, you do it. But then, and that's almost like 10 years ago now. Yeah. Which is mad. Because like, I did that. Yeah. Like, I did that before like Desolated and everything. I was doing that.
Yeah. I mean, you've been in a shitload of bands before joining Desolated. In fairness.
Well, sort of. I'd sort of start things, and then I'd sort of like I'd start stuff, but I've never actually made. And after being a kid, like when I was a teenager, I made bands, but I've never actually made a band. I always join bands.
Yeah, because I remember like. Well, no, you made, was it Catch These Hands?
Yeah, Catch These Hands. But then I sort of don't count that. But I like it. It's like a memory with like Murray.
You played a show?
We played a show. I think we played 2 shows actually. But then so I was like, but that was it was funny. It was meant to be kind of funny, and it was. And then technically I started Tantrum with Craw, but then we argued, but we're good now. So that stopped. But then beyond that, I just sort of like I'd start stuff and it just never happens, and then I just sort of like but then I end up just joining things.
Yeah, because I know you was in Caliber for a bit as well, weren't you?
I was in Caliber for about, I think it must have been like 4 or 5 years or something like that.
Yeah,
that was when I was like young.
Yeah, I remember.
Well, that's like my entry point.
Just a wee little child.
Well, exactly, yeah, and that's like my entry point to like the more Ruction side of things. Obviously before then I knew Knuckle Dust and that, but I wasn't like, don't know, well versed in them.
How did you link up with Caliber?
Mog. It's Mog.
Mog.
They needed a
That makes sense.
guitarist. It's always been. It's basically like I know I'm good at guitar, and people know I'm good at guitar. And then so when someone needs someone who's good at guitar, it ends up being me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then so it's and then that was the case. It was just actually no, tell a lie. There's a fella called Charlie, and he played in Broken Teeth, and I was matey with him. It was like no, it was through Mog and him, and that's how the link up with that happened there.
Yeah, yeah.
But then that would be like my sort of like them lot would be like my era of people, like my extended lot, and it would be like the St Albans lot as well would know them. So it's like because obviously I'm younger. It's because I'm like Bait Sam and Vince's and all that lot sort of generation, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean it's weird because like I remember obviously Sam and Vince coming round like having to be smuggled into the 12 bar.
Yeah, they were a lot earlier than me.
They would turn up. They were like 15, 16 years old. You had to sort of fucking hide them under your coat to get them into the building.
Yeah,
sort of thing.
kick that like what's that alleyway? The gate.
Kick that
little gate. Yeah. Kick that gate open. It's all good.
Have you been down there recently?
I walked past it not too long ago, and I saw it in. I was watching a TV series called Black Doves, and
Right.
they go to that street, but they filmed it since it's all changed up, and then so I see it in that like looking down that street because obviously loads of the guitar shops like the One Joe guitars and all that they're still there, innit?
Yeah.
So all of them are still there, but
Yeah.
and you see the alleyway in the like from the street.
Right, yeah.
And then so I was like pausing it and I was going like, no, that's the 12 bar thing.
Because the last thing I saw filmed down there was there's a fight sequence in Kick-Ass 2.
How long ago was that?
It would have been around 2015, 2016, because it looks like the old 12 bar alley. You can tell it's like the alley that we knew.
Yeah. And there was that big London hardcore thing on the side of it as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, with Juggernaut
Right.
that Fitzy did.
Yeah, well, we may or may not have done.
I mean, he's in Japan these days. I don't think.
I think he'll be all right. Yeah, that's what he did.
It's like a decade ago, and he's in Japan.
Statute of criminal limitations.
I can't imagine the fucking graffiti police are gonna rock up on a fucking train to Osaka.
They'll be Googling Street Fighter. One of them will be Googling Street Fighter. We'll come across this. Then we'll be like, hang on a minute.
And you're off on tour again with Desolated next week.
Yeah, so that's Europe. Looking forward to that. And that's another one. That's with Acacia Strain and Paleface. And then for me, like the fact that it's like Acacia Strain for me is one of those bands probably that you don't give a shit about.
Yep.
But yeah, but then for me, it's like I'm like, whoa, Acacia Strain, that's sick. And then Paleface obviously as well. They're a lot newer. I think it's cool. Like it's cool that they're taking us on there, but like.
Yeah,
they weren't around when I was like a 15-year-old. Do you know what I mean? So that was like one of them albums that was there that I was like Acacia Strain, just mad. So it's it's cool. It was cool going away.
Acacia Strain. They're that bad. It's like Idle Hands, all like Parkway Drive.
Yeah. Same with me.
That's that generation. It's that generational thing where it's like I missed, and so I was just like, yeah, whatever. Yeah.
But then for me, so speaking of Parkway Drive, I went to see Parkway Drive. And then opening for Parkway Drive, I accidentally saw Your Demise.
Right.
And that's how I saw Your Demise. So Parkway Drive, them early Parkway Drive albums, because it's metalcore. Like all of us lot, it's the metalcore stuff. And I know loads of people will pretend that it's not the case. And it's like, no, I was just into bulldoze. It's bullshit. Like, it's bullshit. All of us came through metalcore. Like, and then
like I really find that weird when people like deny the slightly cheesy thing that they got into that helped them get into heavier shit.
Yeah.
Look, there's a whole generation of people that wouldn't have found death metal had it not been for the first Slipknot album.
No, yeah, exactly. And it's like and it's when you listen to stuff back, and I think there's like certain albums that I went away from, like probably another band that you've heard the name of that didn't give a shit about, but for me I was like, yo, as Blood Runs Black. I listened to that album, Allegiance, recently. And I was like, everything about it is just nuts. Like, it's so well done. Everything about it is so well done. And I was listening to it and I was like, but I went away from it for years because I think you subconsciously do it as well, where you kind of go like, you stray from stuff when you're younger. Do you know what I mean? And you sort of like what you just said, when it's, is it cheesy? Is it like fringes and everything? Is it cheesy?
Yeah, I mean, fucking hell. With them curls, you had a fucking fringe as well. Jesus Christ,
mate, I could open a salon.
Was you on the hair straighteners?
Yeah, of course I was. I never dyed it though. But I reckon I could straighten hair now impeccably. I reckon it's like pure muscle memory. I reckon I'd just like. But yeah, I was fully on that.
I was just trying to think of like the bands that I got into hardcore with are still considered relatively like the bands that you'd want to get into through.
Yeah.
Because it was like Biohazard, it was Madball, it's that generation sort of thing.
Yeah, for me, Biohazard came later, Madball came later. Hatebreed was there. I didn't even know that Hatebreed was a hardcore band.
Right.
And it's like,
you must have come across Hatebreed when they were already playing festivals and were like, metal kids kind of liked them. Yeah.
Because I reckon, when was I? I started school 2004. And so when I was like 15, 16, realistically, that's when people actually start doing so. I know people go, "Ooh, it was 12. Yeah. No, they weren't. 15, 16. So that would have been like 2009 or something. So yeah, that would have been, wouldn't it? Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, like, Satisfaction came out in 97.
Yeah. Right.
So, and that's like when we sort of first heard them.
Yeah.
But there was always this thing about Jamie didn't like to fly, so they would never come to the UK. Like, which is mad when you think about it now. Like, that fucker goes all over the world, sort of thing.
So was it? It just weren't true?
I don't know if it wasn't true or what it was, but apparently he was scared of flying or some shit, or didn't want to fly, this, that, and the other. And so he didn't come over for years. Like, they didn't come over until like 2001, 2002.
Right. Because I don't think it wasn't Satisfaction. It weren't that weren't the album either.
No, it would have been is it Perseverance?
Potentially.
It's the one with I Will Be Heard.
Yeah.
That's when he first came. I think that's when they first came to the UK and they came supporting Sepultura.
Right, okay.
And that's obviously the famous show where like everything kicked off at, I think it was the Astoria or Brixton Academy one or two, and it all went fucking mental.
I don't even know about that.
Yeah, it's like one of these.
I feel like you said it. The way you said it made me feel like I should know about it, and I thought
it's one of the things where it's like a bunch of our lot had gone down there for Hatebreed, and like I've always said it was like the LBU's coming out party to like the mainstream metal crowd because they'd never seen.
Right, makes sense. Yeah,
they'd never seen a bunch of guys in tracksuits to start with at a fucking metal show. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, I think it's where I first heard the term chav metal at some point as well. After that was like when I first heard that term chav.
Yeah, I like that term chav metal.
I do, yeah. I find it hilarious. But it's just one of them things where it's like we were all there for Hatebreed, and I just remember, I'm pretty sure it was Terry Haynes just being like, right, we need to fucking open this pit up and just turn around and clock in someone.
Yeah.
And then it was absolute chaos for the entire Hatebreed set.
Is it it's like the push pit versus hardcore dancing type situation,
but,
right?
But there was no way the push pit was ever going to encroach on like what we were doing at that point, because like we were young, we were aggy as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was just, it's absolute chaos. And yeah, like that was the first time that Hatebreed came here, as far as I'm aware. I'm pretty sure that's the first Hatebreed show. I can't think of anything before that because we'd have all been at it.
And what year was that?
That would have been 2001, 2002. I'm sure someone like PD or someone's got a fucking ticket of it on his wall somewhere.
Oh yeah,
it was on like September the
14th.
Yeah, I mean it'll be like bang to rights, exactly date and everything on it. So, but I can't remember.
You need to get PD on like a phone a friend type setup here, just for knowledge.
And dialing into Pete. What
day was like, like the guru, innit?
Give me a sec, mate. It's like when you go to Holland or somewhere like that, and you start at someone's house and they've got the booklet of all the shows you've done.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
You were much better
nuts,
when you came over here in 2012. You played a much better set. I gave you 8 out of 10.
Tony got that. I had that once. I filled in for Bund 'Em Out. I can't remember how I couldn't do it.
I can't remember who was telling me that story, and I just fucking pissed myself.
But he came up. I just forgot this. Like, I forgot a riff. I just completely mind blank forgot a riff. And then so but with Bund 'Em Out and like certain bands like that, you can't really style it out because it's like notes. It's like, do you know what I mean? You can't style it out. And so I was just like, stop. And then carried on when the next riff came in. And afterwards, some German guy came up to me and he was like, oh, I liked, said the song name and then was like, remix. I was like, yeah, nice one. And the other one was Tony. Tony got called fat as well. That was a great one. And he was like, last time you were here, you were not so fat. Amazing.
I can just imagine Tony's reaction to that as well.
It's weird though, because when you do go, there's like the Germans at shows. Like I think where sometimes there's a language barrier, you always give them the benefit of the doubt that they're not being arseholes.
Yeah.
And then you come away from the chat afterwards and you're like, hang on a minute, you just fucking insulted me. It's only retrospectively that you're like, you're like, it was just an insult. It's not a language thing. You just made a choice to come over and call Tony fat. But at the time you're like, oh, maybe it's a cultural thing, but it's not. It's not.
When we was doing Radio Eye, we'd get emails from like Dutch agents about such and such a band or whatever. And a lot of the American bands or whatever have their European agency is like somewhere is like MAD or somewhere over in Holland. And some of the emails, when you're talking about like prices and that, they're so direct in the way they type, like the way they letter an email. You're like, are you just being a dick?
Yeah. But I do back it. It's like whereas we dance the dance, don't we? You never know. But so I get it and stuff like that. I think like.
There's me typing away being like all nice, hi, how you doing? Da, 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 da. And they're just like, no, you pay us 600 euros.
Yeah, exactly. There's no room for negotiation. Straight to the point.
Just like, okay, cool. I guess we're paying you 600 euros.
Yeah.
Cool. So,
well, that's it. And then they've got what they want. It just shows that it works. It's like direct.
Yeah, I mean, there were times when you'd have to turn around and go like, no, that band isn't going to pull what you're asking for it. So go fuck yourself. You negotiate or you lose the show entirely.
You cannot have them then. That's it. They will go elsewhere.
You lose a show then. Sorry. Yeah, it's always... Oh, God. I forget your missus is German.
I use that just for context. I'm holding up a German flag, which I use to antagonise my girlfriend. She
At least it's just the German national flag and not a certain other flag you could wave at to antagonise her.
Yeah, well, I've heard they're pretty difficult to get these days, but yeah, fortunately, actually, are they? Probably not.
No, probably not.
No.
I mean, you could probably just go to like a Blood and Honor website and find what you needed.
Yeah, it all popped through my head, and I remembered all the lot of fans of that.
Yeah.
Bless them.
Bless.
How long did it take us to get on to Nazism from speaking about Germans? That's weird. Yeah, innit? I think it's unfair. If anyone German's listening, sorry.
I mean, we don't think that's all your country has to offer.
Yeah, you got loads more than that. Loads more than that.
You have sausages.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Let's re-roll the questions. Let's move away.
Well, I mean, I haven't been to Germany in years, but when I went out there, I don't know if you'd have noticed this back years ago, because I'm assuming it's improved now, but like, you're a vegan. And vegan food out there was not widely available when I went to Germany in like early 2000s.
Now it's like it's like the capital of vegan food. If you like, firstly, Germany. When you go to Germany, they give you spreads and stuff, and they give you food. Yeah. You could be like whatever the band, and it's like they're mad for it. They give you a really good spread. You get a bed.
We had that in Holland.
All sorts. Yeah, it's continental.
Yeah.
Whereas here's really bad. We played so Desolated played a show for Paul, who was doing vocals at the time.
Yeah.
And then the rider that he gave us was like a multi-pack of crisps.
Yeah, but it's his own band. He's probably taking a piss.
No, I reckon he just does it all the time. I think it's just testament to the UK. You just go like, right, you played your show, fuck off now. Whereas Germany, they're like, oh, here, have this. Here, make you cakes. I went to vegan cupcakes in one place. Amazing. Like, I wish I knew the name or remembered the name of whoever put that show on and whoever made the vegan cupcakes. Because you wouldn't get that. Imagine that. Imagine you and Gino making some vegan cupcakes for Red Eye. You ain't doing that.
No, I mean, we would, for travelling bands, we'd get food in. We'd make sure they were fed. But normally it would be a case of local pizza. What do you want on your pizza?
Going that extra mile.
And then we're just ordering a bunch of pizzas from them, be like, you know. It's an easy option, to be fair.
Yeah.
Because with pizza, you can obviously have multiple toppings. If you have got vegans in the band, you can get like a separate couple of vegan pizzas and and all the rest of it. It's just it's an easy way to keep 99% of people happy.
But my criticism is that it's not like made with love, is it?
You say Domino's don't make their pizza with love?
I really doubt it. But then promoters made an effort. Vegan cupcakes, spread all sorts of vegan meats and things like that. Veganish.
Vegan meats. That's
vegan
a very
meats.
weird phrase.
Yeah, you'd think it was an oxymoron, but it's not. No, it's like vegan meat alternatives, and it's mad. And then so there'll be all sorts, and you go there, and so that's one thing Germany's good for. It's really like France is really bad for vegan food. France is like the new bad one.
Really?
For that, yeah, awful. Really bad for it.
How's Asia? Because I imagine that's pretty decent.
Yeah, it depends where you are. If you're like in Vietnam, loads of Asian food is accidentally vegan.
Yeah.
and then so it's like your tofus and stuff like that. It's all accidentally vegan. So you're eating stuff and you ask, and I think they know that you're in places that people always go, so they just go. So most places we went, because George is vegan as well. Rene was doing bass for it, and Rene was like completely happy to eat vegan food. He said before, he was like, yeah, if you just get everything vegan, I don't care. Like, he likes food, do you know what I mean? He's not like, oh,
and then would eat anything as long as it's like edible in front of him.
He's like a taste man. He's big on food, and he's like, his dad is a cook and stuff, and like Rene made me baklava once, and it's incredible. And he's just like, so he's like a food guy. He loves Andy Bourdain. He watches that, and he got really sad when he died. And then so he's like, he likes flavour. And then so when he was out there, he was like, I don't mind eating it because it all tastes amazing. And then Luke as well, because Luke played drums on this. Luke Walker, who's in Negative Frame, and he played drums for the Desolated tour, and then he played drums for this tour as well. Really good drummer. And he last time he was a bit more hesitant to eat food out there. But then this time he was like, I've watched him eat frog, whereas last time I don't think he'd eat frog. You know what I mean? And then so...
I mean, when I was out in sort of Hong Kong or places like that, you kind of just... There's a lot of sort of... When I was in Hong Kong, there's still a lot of Western type stuff out there because obviously British colonisation, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But you still get local foods and shit like that, and it's just like, okay, that's a little weird, that's a little odd, but fuck it, I'll try it.
It was like Thailand and Vietnam and the Philippines. The Philippines was like, they had quite a lot of vegan stuff, but they're quite like a meat heavy sort of diet there, but they had loads of vegan stuff knocking about. Malaysia was a bit hit or miss for it because it's like, I think it's cultural. There's some cultures that if you say like, oh, I don't eat meat, it will be, oh, that's chicken. Chicken's not meat, which to us it is meat, but it's separate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then so
they don't view it the same way, sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then so like in places in Malaysia, it's sort of like, oh, if you don't eat meat, that means that you eat like chicken, and not exclusively, but from what we experience, I'm sure there's people in Malaysia that know what vegans are. But do you get what I mean? But from our experience of places we went, some places would go, oh, you can't eat that, so you'll eat chicken and fish. And you go like, no. But then places like I think it's to do with Buddhism as well. I think where there's a lot of Buddhism,
yes,
there's a lot more stuff. And so I just amazingly, like we went out early on purpose. We went to Vietnam. We didn't even play a show in Vietnam. We just went to Vietnam, and it's because it's the home of banh mi, and we just ate banh mi, and it was wicked. It was like 4 or 5 days of just eating just amazing food for cheap. Yeah, it's like normally I go on tour and I come back like skinnier. This is the first time I've went on tour and I've actually put on weight.
Fat bastard.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we ate well. We ate well at this time. So yeah, normally the like this next one coming up will probably just like I'll probably like lose half a stone on the time that I'm away. But
so you're doing like Germany, Holland, that way of Europe, or further east?
Yeah, I think we're going further east. I should know this. But then,
considering you're leaving in like a week's time, it's probably a good idea to know your itinerary.
Well, I don't have to think about it, innit? I just have to sort of tell. I'm not a driver. I ain't got a driver's license. You know.
You just sit in the back of a van and be like, "Forward, James."
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, thank you guys for driving me places, and then sometimes they'll go, "Should probably get a driver's license." I'm like, yeah, could do. But when have you got a driver's license? You ain't got one, have you?
No, I've got provisional.
Yeah, but for ID's purposes, isn't it?
Pretty much. It's just one of them things where it's like, I live and work in London. Yeah. There's literally no point in me getting a car.
Well, this is it. This is what I always tell people. And it was like we was at work. Like I work in the countryside a lot, and then when people say to you like, "Oh, you haven't got a driver's license," they're like disgusted that you don't have one. Whereas I'm kind of disgusted when someone has one. You know what I mean? And I'm like, what the fuck? Like when Gino learned to drive, I was like, what the fuck? Gino's learned to drive.
It's that thing, it's like when you move out of London, and you must be experiencing it somewhat up north now.
Yeah,
it's a little harder. Like London has one of the most, as much as we bitch about it being late and delayed and always being like engineering works, it's still one of the most sort of concise transport systems in the world. Like you can get to any part of London from any other part of London fairly easily.
Apart from South London's a bit cut off.
Yeah, but even then you can still get around it to a certain degree. You just have to.
Yeah, it's navigatable. Yeah, that's true.
Whereas like if you're in some fucking town out in the middle of nowhere up north, you're waiting like an hour and a half for a bus.
Liverpool's not too bad for it. It's very bus heavy, but then it's like it's more advanced than I thought it was going to be in so many ways.
It's the way you called it advanced. Like,
I know, I fucked up, and then I ran with it.
Fucking, was you expecting people living in caves and still fucking hitting each other in fucking clubs? I mean, I know you're into fucking digging holes for archaeology and shit.
That's why I moved here. But for context, if anyone listening, I've moved to Liverpool. That's the thing.
But apparently, he was expecting to like find fucking Journey to the Centre of the Earth or some shit with dinosaurs still running around.
Yeah, well, I did think I was just going to get bullied by the locals, but they really sound they're nicer than we are. So much nicer than we are. But then I didn't think they would be. And I've got a.
I've met Craw.
Is it? Yeah, it's weird.
So I've met Craw, so I don't believe they're nicer than the rest of us.
I've been I'm like apprentice. I'm like a Scouse apprentice. I've been taken on by a guy called Key, aka Kier, aka Kieran, L1HC. Big up, and he's like my Scouse sensei.
Oh Christ!
And he translates things for me. And he taught me words like Job means taxi.
Okay.
Things like that. Yeah. I'm getting immersed.
Because my old man was Scouse.
Oh, is it? Never knew that.
But he moved to London. I mean, he'd probably been in London. Obviously, because he was on the ships, he was docking down here quite a bit in the 50s anyway.
Yeah.
But he met my mum in 1960. So by the time I was born in like 78, by the time I was like rational as a child, he'd kind of lost a lot of it, like a lot of his slang and a lot of that had all gone because I suppose I get the impression that although he was Scouse, he'd spent a lot of time because he was in an orphanage in Somerset during the war.
Right. Yeah.
So there's that element of it, and then he went on the ship, so he's around people of all different accents and shit like that.
Was it?
Merchant Navy, yeah.
My granddad was on that. My granddad's from Glasgow. Was from Glasgow. Rest in peace. But he was on the Merchant Navy as well, and he ended up in London.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone ends up in London.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, back in them days, it would have been one of the biggest shipping port. It would have been the biggest shipping port in the UK, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it's nuts when you hear about it as well, because it's like, I swear my granddad ended up on the ships when he was like 12 or 13 or something like that.
Yeah. Now, when my dad talks about it, I'm like, well, hold on a second. You was born in 1934. You met my mum in 1960.
Yeah.
And yet you was at sea for X amount of years. So when the fuck did they put you on your first ship? They just sling you on there when he's like 12 years old. Like, off you go. Become a pirate.
Yeah, it's nuts, isn't it? Like, because I didn't get a job until I was like 19.
I had a job when I was 16. Well, does a paper round count as a job? Because in which case I had one when I was 11.
I think that does count. Yeah, that counts.
I mean,
like you probably didn't do national insurance contributions for it. But
no, I mean, I earned more money from private customers than I did from the actual round.
What do you mean by that? I don't want to go down that avenue. What does that mean?
So basically, all it was like, given the area I live in, obviously East London, in the 80s, very racist area.
It's like Beckton, isn't it? Was you Beckton? No, Custom House. Yeah.
Custom House. So quite a racist area, and I was able to exploit that racism. Because they would rather pay me £10 than pay the shop owned by an Asian guy a couple of quid for the newspapers each week.
Wow.
So I would literally, because you'd always, with the Sun and the Mirror, you'd always have tons of extras because they're the most popular paper. So you'd just
which is sickening. Papers. Also, just want to say, fuck the Sun.
Yeah. Especially where you are, you have to say that.
Yeah. And I feel it. And I mean it.
I mean, I've always hated the paper, but Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
but people would pay me a tenner a week rather than pay the shop.
That's nuts.
So I was getting I'd get £11 that the shop paid me each week.
Yeah.
And these guys were paying me a tenner each a week. So I was coming home with like 110, 112 quid every week.
Entrepreneurial, that is. I like that.
Just from shifting papers to fucking sketchy racist ass.
Racist. Selling the Sun to racists. You know?
It's like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, it's a free market, isn't it?
So if you're fancy enough if you want to give me £10 rather than giving fucking the shopkeeper like a couple of quid a week, then I'm not going to fucking say no to you.
But that's nuts. That it's like, I guess, back then, because my dad's from East Ham, but around them ways. But then I never really see it as like a racist area as such. But then I think it is. I don't know if it's a different period of time, right?
I mean, East Ham's always had in my lifetime's always had a pretty hefty sort of Muslim community around the area.
Yeah.
So it's a bit back when I grew up here, like this street that I'm in now was all white apart from 2 Caribbean families and 1 Asian family. It was all like white English.
Right. Whereas East Ham always had the diversity in it. Mm.
Over the years, this street has shifted colossally in its like sort of ethnic makeup.
Yeah.
But when I was a kid growing up here, it was predominantly all white families.
Interesting. Hence the paper trade that you had on the go.
Yeah, and also
so you'd pop over to East Ham, get some newspapers, bring them back over here.
No, I mean, the shop that I used to do the paper round for is literally like down the road here, but it was owned by an Asian guy. Because like that was a trade back then. You know, a lot of Indian and Pakistani people in this area owned the paper shops. News agents, corner shops, stuff like that were all Asian owned.
I actually I was working in Felixstowe, and I actually went to. He claimed that it was the first shop owned by an Asian guy in Felixstowe. Right. And so, which I was like, that's impressive. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like, and it was a newspaper shop, corner shop, isn't it?
I think apart from one corner shop round here, I'm not sure what because the guy didn't look like white, but he definitely wasn't Asian or anything like that.
Right.
And he owned one just at the top. On the other, it's weird to describe because obviously I'm just waving my hands around. You see one, but basically, I've got there's a bunch of at the top of my road here. There's a long road and a bunch of sort of corner shops off the end of it, different owners. And he owned one sort of on the opposite end to where I did my paper round from. And that was always known as Johnny Ling's. I don't know who the fuck owns it anymore, but you kind of used to know who ran and owned these shops when I was a kid.
Yeah, same, but it's changed now. Although I did in my local area, I had quite a good rapport with the corner shop.
Yeah, I have now.
But I didn't know them by name. Name.
Like I used to know them all by name. We used to know Johnny Ling's. We used to have Nick's, where I used to do my paper round from. There was Ramish's. You know, there's loads of them sort of all knocking about, and you just kind of knew the people in there. Ramish's used to be it used to like rent videos as well.
Was that like Blockbuster era?
Pre-Blockbuster.
Or did they? Pre-Blockbuster.
This is like proper like 84, 85. I didn't even own a video player at the time. My friend did round the corner.
Oh, so he was like living in the future.
To me, it was like we couldn't afford a fucking video player back then. I didn't get a VHS thing until like 89, 90, I don't reckon. No, it would have been around 87 because we watched RoboCop.
I wasn't even born. I was born in 92.
Fuck off.
So whilst all of this was going on, I was just not even born.
Still swimming around in daddy's ballsack.
I probably wasn't even there yet.
Hadn't even been generated yet.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't even there.
Chemical reactions hadn't happened yet.
Yeah, exactly. I was like probably at least 3 years off of even that.
But no, he used to. It was funny because you'd have all the proper films like on display, but then you'd have a bunch of pirate shit. It was like, you know,
so
still in the cinema.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about like pirated videos.
Yeah, I can't remember which episode we were talking about recently. But we used to have a guy come round here in a van, and he'd just turn up once a week with a van, and he'd have like whatever was at the cinema at the time. He'd have like on VHS in the back of his van. I mean, they were shitty copies, obviously. They weren't like someone just sat there with a fucking VCR camcorder sort of thing and taped them off the screen. But at least you could watch the film like almost a year in advance of being able to get it, because back then there was a long waiting time between cinema and video release.
Yeah.
Now it's like weeks.
Not, is it? If that.
Yeah, but if a film does
on Netflix, isn't it?
If a film does badly, it's almost instantly on streaming.
Yeah.
Like they've already announced that Craven the Hunter film coming straight out. It's only been in the cinema,
some of them don't even go cinema, innit? Some of them go straight out, like Netflix. Well, during bangs things up.
During the pandemic, lots of stuff went straight to streaming, didn't it?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Because it was like, well, what the fuck are we gonna do? Sit on it for 2 years till people go and see it, or do we just fucking bang it out on the stream?
Bang it out now. Yeah. I missed the pandemic in some ways. Many aspects are fucked up, but it was.
I miss quiz night. LBU
quiz night was great. Oh yeah, fucking hell, where you were cheating.
I did not cheat a single fucking thing. I just have a.
I don't know if you know this. This is probably a good time for this.
I have a massive bank of useless general knowledge.
But I've been I'm doing it part in jest. But anyone who will listen behind your back, I'm like, John cheats and quizzes. John cheats and quizzes. John cheats and quizzes. I've just been telling anyone. I was like, do you remember them quizzes? LBU quizzes. John was cheating. Do you think John was cheating?
It was weird because like whenever anyone else was doing, because obviously if I set the quiz, I wasn't taking part. But like when anyone else set the quiz, for some reason they would just pick the categories were always like music, film. They were two big ones. Now I worked in HMV for 14 years.
Yeah.
So music and film are just like instantly in my head.
Yeah, true.
General knowledge, history type stuff is just stuff I'm interested in.
Yeah. And my thing was just all like Gino's questions. I swear Gino would make questions that was like information that predates him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
He just knew it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like these questions, and I was like, it was like just like 70s film knowledge and stuff like that. And I'll just be like, people will be like, "Yeah, I got that," and I'll be like, "How the fuck does anyone know this?" I was like generationally cut off from participating in the quizzes. But I still think you just googled some of it. I reckon you just.
I used to try and throw in like science questions and shit like that.
I was always all right with them ones.
And maths questions. I remember doing the true or false questions, like true or false, there's a number called a Googleplex, which is so big if you wrote it all out in zeros, like 1 0 0 0 0, there's not enough matter in the entire universe to write it all out on. If you converted all the matter in the universe and turned it into paper to write it out on, it wouldn't be enough to write it all out on. True or false?
Is that true?
It is true.
That's mad.
And
I also remember during them quizzes, one of my favourite things was when Ammo would come on the quizzes and he would just shout out the answers and then go, "Oh shit, was I not meant to shout out the answer?"
It's done, so Ammo, write it down. Keep it in your head.
He knew what he was doing.
It's A, B, C, or D. Don't just scream it.
But I think what's funny about them things is when we'd be like, you'd be talking to people like, and then it'll be like, "Oh, what do you do?" Da, da, da. And you go, "Oh yeah, the LBU quiz," and I think people just didn't expect there to be like an LBU quiz night.
I just think it's one of those
characteristic, didn't it? And it's like, yeah, we had a little wholesome quiz night.
I think a lot of that is like, people think of the LBU as a certain way.
Mm.
You look at the music we make, you listen to the lyrics for a lot of the songs that have come out from LBU bands, it was like, "Oh, they're all fucking tough guys." And genuinely, it's just a bunch of people that make music and have a laugh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's all it boils down to a lot of the time.
Yeah, I think that's the thing in hardcore in general, isn't it? But I don't think like any of us lot like propagate it. Do you know what I mean? We don't like spread it. I think it's like but I think it's like the tough guy thing in hardcore, right? There's people in there, I guess, in hardcore that are, but you like, don't know.
The problem I have with a lot of the tough guy stuff isn't that it exists. It's it's been existing long before I was around hardcore. It's the fact that when I'm watching a band on stage, and if I even know them well enough personally, or I can see right through them, it puts me off.
Yeah,
because I'm kind of like, I know you're not that, so why are you singing about it?
Like they don't need, like people don't need to be either, and that's the thing.
This is the thing, like if you look at like some of my favourite bands, they're not tough guy shit at all. Like lyrically, at all. I mean, I would argue something like 9 Bar, 90% of it isn't tough guy stuff.
No, but people think it is.
Yeah, because they know Read These Box.
Well, it's because of it's like DBS's thing, isn't it? That's a bit. It's DBS's line in that bit.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously you've got Pelbury's bit, stomp, stomp, no.
Yeah.
It's a very aggressive song, but if you listen to like other lyrics, you listen to songs like Choke or Still Here and stuff like that, and they're talking about like pressures of life or like thoughts of suicide and getting through them and sort of stuff like that. It's not tough guy shit. It's just like general social stuff.
I think as well, like as I get older, I think when you sort of you're younger, you sort of go into an environment that is, you go, oh, like I don't know. I think my young era of hardcore wasn't really tough guy stuff, I suppose, but it was about. I think the more the beatdown stuff, that's more like that.
Yeah.
But then like Desolated lyrics are not like tough guy lyrics.
No.
Like the Desolated lyrics are like about being sad and shit, things like that. And then
yeah, Karen.
It's like so I don't know. I feel like there's an aspect of hardcore where I don't really understand why people. You don't really need to go to something. You go out of your way to go to something, to be an arsehole, to be the tough guy.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? When it's a social club, isn't it? The whole thing's a fucking social club in many ways.
When I first started coming around, like the sort of the London scene as we know it now, I definitely sort of held back on sort of my more nerdy side, talking about that and stuff. It took a while for that to sort of come out of its shell.
Yeah,
because
same.
I was always worried about being judged. You know what I mean? It's like, and then you see Pierre's putting out flyers with like loads of Marvel shit on it. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Like he clearly reads comics. You know what I mean? It became something like, okay, so I don't have to worry about the fact I'm also a fucking massive nerd. I can talk about that shit and no one's
it's just fine,
have a problem.
Yeah.
But you think when you first get there, you don't think like that, and you're like, oh, I can't really talk about like that sort of stuff because people are gonna like cuss me and that. And
like me talking about RuneScape. Although I don't think I've ever shut up about RuneScape. We got RuneScape.
I don't know RuneScape. That's one of them games that kind of skipped my generation as well, I think.
It's just a needless grind.
Is it not just Minecraft?
Nah. Minecraft is...
For me, for some reason, RuneScape and Minecraft are basically the same thing.
I can see it
because I've not played either of them, so I have no idea.
Like, Minecraft, you can do so much more than you can do in RuneScape. RuneScape is just about clicking things, getting experience points. Experience points leads to levels. That's it. It's all you're doing. And that's all I've always played. Because I know you're like a Street Fighter guy and all that sort of stuff. But for me, it was like...
I play a lot of games. Street Fighter's the main one, but...
Yeah, mine is like... I'll just click things again and again and again. I was never a World of Warcraft person. Because it was like... I was never... But it's them sort of games. And then so it was just
I've always worried... With World of Warcraft, I was always worried because it was like the first big multiplayer online thing that I can remember of that sort of scale. And I was like, the way my brain works... I could get easily addicted to that shit.
Yeah, that's my thing.
Disappear.
Yeah, I can as well, and that's my thing. Because like Richie is, he keeps trying to get me to get Path of Exile, which is I think it's Path of Exile, but it's like a Diablo 2 clone game.
Right. Okay.
And then so it's like because basically they I don't know if you know like Diablo 2 prelude to World of Warcraft, not prelude, but an older game, Blizzard game, blah blah blah. And then they brought out a new Diablo 3, and it was shit, really bad. And then
because it's just Diablo 4, haven't they, recently?
Yeah, and it's just trash. Apparently, as well, if you bought everything that could be bought in Diablo 4, you could spend £50,000 or something like that. I might be talking shit, but that's what I read somewhere. So,
I thought Street Fighter 5 was expensive.
How nuts is that? So you could sit there and to do all of the pay to win 50 grand on this game. And so you're not playing the game. Whereas on Diablo 2, you was just like, if someone had something, because they just, exactly. And then they were good at something. Whereas on these other games, and everyone was just like, oh, fuck you. And then so other companies made other games that were like Diablo 2 clones. And then so Richie started playing one. And then he's trying to get me onto it. But I said to him, I was like, I can't do what you do. If I play a game, I'm trading my life for that game.
For that game. And this is my problem. Is like the reason I play Street Fighter, because I could grind Street Fighter because it's tournament and it's ranking up and all the rest of it and all that sort of shit.
Yeah.
But I can also pick up Street Fighter, play a couple of matches online, and then fuck it off.
Yeah, you could be there for 6 minutes and then be like, that's me done, Street Fighter, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's pretty like I like the old style side-scrolling beat-em-ups like Streets of Rage and Double Dragon and shit like that.
Yeah,
because I know the game's well enough now, so I can probably clear them in like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It's a 30-minute knockabout. Put it down, done.
Then you're done with it.
But it's funny. I was talking. I sent a message out to a couple of game people that I know. And Lawrence, the drummer from King Street, and that was one of them. And it was talking about like game difficulty settings. And he just messaged me, went, "What's the hardest game you've ever played?" And I was like, ooh, that's quite a question, because games back when I used to play as a kid in the arcades were designed to take your money.
Oh, so they was harder.
They were because the whole point was they were arcade machines. The whole point was to get you shoveling 20p, 20p. So they were built unfairly. They were designed to literally fuck you all the time. And so I was like, you've got things like Ghouls and Ghosts that are just horrendous for that.
I don't know that one. Was that what the arcade thing, was it?
Yeah, it's a Capcom game. You play like a knight called Arthur. And basically 2 hits kill you. 1 hit takes your armor off you, and the other hit kills you.
Right.
But they would put things in such a way that there was no way you was avoiding at least catching the first hit almost off the first little bit of the screen.
And then so you're like, money.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
You'd have to
So
learn patterns and shit like.
Was that your hardest game then?
No, because I was thinking about it. I was like, there are still people I know, even if I haven't, I know people that have completed that game.
Right.
But there's a game called Gauntlet, which I don't even know if it can be completed. Because I don't know what the mechanic in it is. That basically every level is like a maze. It's like a top-down maze. And you basically fight your way through the maze, get to the exit, and you go to the next screen. I've seen people playing this for 50, 60 levels and appear to be nowhere closer to the end. Like,
Right, I see.
And I'm just like, A, how many levels did they put in this thing? And does it just loop? So it's uncompletable.
Because I'm trying to think like, what's the hardest game? But then I think all the games that I play, they're not hard. They're just like grind games.
Yeah,
they're not hard.
They're long, grindy.
Yeah.
And that's technically what Gauntlet is. I mean, it's difficult because you don't have much life bar in it. You know, you get hit a few times and you're dead and you're back to the start.
Mm.
But at the same time, it is just a grind. It's like, just keep going.
We used to play this Korean MMO called MU Online, or it might have been Mu Online, but it was spelled MU Online.
I've never.
And it was just like you'd grind, get XP really, really slowly. You'd get these little gem things, and the gems. So it was a gear, like all these games. It's like gear based, right?
Yeah.
And so the better you gear, the better you are. Blah blah blah. Blah. And then and then so you'd get these things. I think they were called like soul gems or something like that. And then with them, you'd have the chance to upgrade your equipment. But then if you'd have like a 12% success rate, like 12% success thing.
Yeah.
And if it failed, it just destroyed the item. And then so you'd just like you'd get it to like
again to find it,
yeah. And then so you do it like you'd have a sword and you'd do it 4 times, and you would have got like one of these gems would have taken you like a week and a half to get, and then you'd get one and you'd try it on your sword, that you'd put the last one in, and then it would just destroy the sword, and then you'd do it again and again and again and again. And I look back and I'm like, why the fuck did we play that game? I should have just been playing World of Warcraft instead. Instead we were just immersed in it, being like, we need these gems.
World of Warcraft recently just re-released the original version of itself.
Well, that's because RuneScape did the same thing.
Because everyone was so pissed off of where it had gotten to.
Yeah, they just fucked people over, and they did. And it's sort of like, I went to school with a guy called Nathan, and he was like, because you can be good at World of Warcraft, like you can be, because there is stuff that you're doing, so it's not just like grinding. You can be good at it, and he just like Tony is good at World of Warcraft, really good at it. But Nathan was like the best tank on his server, and then he spent thousands and thousands and thousands of hours. So I don't know if you remember X-Fire. It was a thing that like logged the amount of hours that you played games for. Yeah. And he had like thousands, and my mate Tom worked it out, and it was something stupid, like it was like something like 20% of his waking time over 5 years was spent playing World of Warcraft. Which is nuts. But then he left because he got offended by what they did with the game. And then he went back to the game when they did the remake, not the remake, the relaunch thing. But then when he went on, he was getting people recognise him. Yeah. And they were like...
all the old people would be like...
Exactly. Yeah. And they were like, oh, you was the guy that was the #1 tank on the server in this guild and da-da-da-da-da, or clan or whatever they call it. I think it's guild on that. And then, so he was getting, like... He had World of Warcraft clout. People recognising him on there, but it brought everyone back, and it's the same thing that RuneScape did. They like fucked around with RuneScape, and everyone left, and then they brought back the classic version, and then loads of people went back on it. But then the same thing happened again. I think it's like trying to recreate that nostalgia that you had. I think MMOs are like, it's like a drug or something, where it's like you can't have the first initial phase ever again.
No, because once you've expanded the world. Every time they add an expansion, it adds on new bits, it adds on new characters or classes or whatever the fuck it adds onto it. You can't really take that away once you've done it.
No. And then so you're just there, you're like, now what?
Yeah, I mean, the last couple of Street Fighter games have all been premised on the idea of DLC.
Yeah.
So any like sort of mechanical updates you got for free. You didn't have to. You have to pay for new characters, skins, and like shit like that. But any mechanical updates to the game were free. The problem is once you've updated it to like the season 3 mechanics, say for example, and it's no longer Street Fighter 5, it's now Street Fighter 5 Arcade Edition or whatever the fuck they call it.
Yeah,
you can't go back. So if you enjoyed the vanilla version of the game,
then you fucked it because you've gone.
You're fucked. You've updated now. Every time you put your disc in the machine, it's going to go, oh. And in fact, a lot of the time, it won't even connect to the server unless you have updated to the latest version of it.
And then did that piss off a lot of people that didn't like the...
I mean, with Street Fighter, not so much, because Street Fighter 5 launched in such a shit condition that everyone wanted it to be updated way more regularly than it even was. But for, I know, like Dragon Ball Fighters, I think everyone's kind of like season 3.5 was like the perfect spot for it. And the updates that have happened since, everyone's a bit like, oh, fuck me, what have they done here?
Speaking of updates, I was one of the first people, well, I say one of the first people, but I was very early on in the League of Legends thing.
Right,
I got it when it was beta.
Fascinating to me.
But I got it in beta, in the beta stages.
I've never played it, but I know how fucking massive that is and how much money there is involved.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts. But what happened? League of Legends. I was at Stratford. I was at Stratford train station, and some kid came up to me, and he was like, "This was years ago." So I must have been like 17 or 18 or something. Maybe I'm talking shit, but I think I was like, because I think I was in sixth form. And he came up and he was going, "Well, you play League of Legends, yeah? You play League of Legends?" And I was going, "What is that? I don't even know what it is." And he was going, "Play League of Legends, yeah?" And I know that he was taking the piss out of me. And then I went home and Googled League of Legends. And I said to all my mates at school, I was like, some fella was saying about this game, League of Legends. And we all downloaded it and we were like, this is sick. And then we started playing it. And that was in the beta stages of it, when it was just a free-for-all. So it was like, so we played it before there was like, now there's like, wait, I haven't played it in years. The last time I played it was when I was at uni, which is like pushing, fuck knows how long ago. But, and it was like there's like roles that everyone plays. And they've become part of it. Whereas before there wasn't roles. Like you were just a character. Whereas now you're like mid or this, that.
Your tank, your DPS.
Yeah, sort of. And then so, but before then it just wasn't. It was just like a free for all and it didn't exist. And then so I was sort of like there when that was actually forming.
Yeah.
And then I fucked it off because it's not for me. But I had fun in that stage.
League of Legends is like fucking retardedly big now. Like it's so massive, it's insane.
Yeah, it's all the esports thing. I see all of that. Man.
But then they did Valorant, which is
that another game?
It's by the same company. It's a hero shooter.
Right.
So like Overwatch, where you pick a character, it's like a third-person shooter.
Got it.
It's team-based, so you have like a team of 5, I think it is in Valorant. And you pick your character, and your team of 5 go off, and you have to do missions against another team of 5, whether it's like hold the point or move the vehicle or whatever, like escort the vehicle or shit like that.
Yeah.
Pretty much like Overwatch. I don't know if you ever played that.
I'm thinking Halo. Giving Halo vibes.
Possibly, but it's more like...
Online Halo.
But whereas Halo's like you are just Soldier X or whatever, you're not characters as such. These are like almost like Street Fighter. These are more like they're like League of Legends. It's like actual characters. And now they've got one coming out this year called 2XKO, which is League of Legends characters in a fighting game.
Okay. Well, that's almost a bit of you, right?
Kind of. I'm a bit confused by what market they're going for with it. Because obviously...
Your attention's been sparked. You're like
well,
ooh.
So it's a tag-based fighter.
Yeah.
But instead of being like Marvel where like I click a tag button, the other character tags in, their idea behind it is I click a tag button and you're the partner on my team, so it tags you and you take over the second character. So it's like 2 players versus 2 players.
Right, I see.
And I'm like, that's never really been done in a fighting game before that I can think of.
It sounds stressful.
And I was like, also, from what I've seen of people playing the beta of it, if you're trying to attract people that play League of Legends in, which is probably their core market,
yeah,
as they're using them characters, you've made what looks like a very, very high-speed technical fighting game.
Yeah.
You can't button bash this fucker if you want to be good at it. You're going to have to really sit down and learn a fighting game.
Yeah.
And my experience of people sitting down and learning a fighting game is they don't like doing it because it's way more work than a lot of other styles of game.
Yeah, so they go off on something else.
If you think of something like an Overwatch or a Valorant, or the current one that's doing massive in that style is Marvel Rivals.
Right. I don't know the game. I know Marvel, obviously, but I don't know the game. What is that, like a Street Fighter thing? Similar?
No, so Marvel Rivals, Valorant, Overwatch, they're these like hero shooters. You pick one of a character,
sorry, got it.
And they'll have like a shooting attack, a melee attack, and like a couple of special moves here and there.
Right.
And they're very like generic, you know what I mean? Fighting game, obviously everyone has multiple special moves with very specific purposes for them special moves.
Right.
As well as their normal 3 punches, 3 kicks and all that sort of shit. And you have to learn how that all chains together, which is where a lot of people drop out because they're like, it's just too.
You can't be asked to learn. Yeah, I never liked learning it when it was like the combos and stuff. I was just
once you start with fighting games, once you start getting down to learning combos and learning frame data and counting frames of animation, you get to a point where you're like, oh, my head's starting to fucking fry.
But that's what RuneScape is. RuneScape is like tick based. They've been tick based. So the way that people do PvP in RuneScape is like it's almost like a dance, tick based dance. Yeah. Like what's that game? My mate Joe would kick me for not knowing it. It's like the thing. I think is it Dark Souls,
right?
Where it's like everyone. It's like people were basically you're like learning.
You're learning the rhythms of the opponents, so you know what they do and when they do it, and then you learn the patterns from it, and then off you go around it, sort of thing. Yeah, you find a solution to it. My
mate Joe, he you know when when you do like say you're like round someone's and it's like till you die. So like you play like GTA and it's like till you die and stuff like that. He went round someone's and they did Dark Souls till you die, but he's so good at the game that he was like he just will not die. So he completed it that night and they were going like, "Oh, you being a prick," blah, 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 blah. And he was going, "No, you said till you die," and he just spent hours to set it finish film.
There's like because obviously the Souls games are like infamous for being hard. They're like that's their thing is like. Souls games are stupidly hard. Like you've got to be like a good player of games to be able to play them games.
One of the games that I like watch on, like I'm one of the people who like watches games on YouTube now. I don't play games. I watch people play games.
There was one guy because there's obviously there's Demon Souls, Dark Souls 2.
Is it Bloodborne or something?
Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3, Sekiro, and Elden Ring. They're like the FromSoft. The company's called FromSoft, and they're the Souls games essentially. They're the Souls style games,
right?
And there's one guy who basically did a no death run through the whole series.
That's amazing.
And it's just like, fuck knows how long it took because you die really easy in them games.
Yeah.
And to do the whole series, and if you go, oh, I die once, I've got to go all the way back to the start of the series. Not just back to the start of that particular game.
But it's all the way at the beginning. It's incredible what people do. It's like the speed running thing. Like all the speed running stuff that's appeared. It's crazy. And it's like I saw a speed run of the RuneScape tutorial and someone found a way to do the tutorial quicker than everyone else can do it. And it's just amazing that people like, it's like sequences that everyone learns. You get better and better and better and better. And you just like, you apply it to everything though, can't you? You do something all the time, you get really good at it. But some people are just wired differently, aren't they? And
the thing is, it's just pattern recognition a lot of the time.
Yeah.
With gaming, it's unless you're playing an actual human opponent.
Yeah.
And even then, it's pattern recognition. You just have to be able to adapt to the pattern a lot faster because you only have that one match against them or whatever, or that set against them. So you have to learn their pattern quickly. But
something I was always bad at that. Hence the grind games. I always like doing cooperative games rather than.
I'm very slow at adapting to people's play styles, which is why
See, that surprises me.
No, I'm terrible. I'm not good at Street Fighter. I enjoy playing Street Fighter. I'm not good at it.
See, I would assume that you would be like a wizard.
I'm this level where it's like, if I played you, I would appear good. But against the people I'm playing at events and like at locals and stuff like that, I get battered. So if I'm playing just a regular person off the street that doesn't really play Street Fighter,
then you're going to be this
or plays it
guy.
very super casually, I'm going to win.
Yeah.
But if I'm playing against people that actually play the game, I'm going to get bad.
Have you ever met Rene's mate, Femi? Maybe you haven't. Maybe you have, but you didn't know. But basically, Rene doesn't play FIFA or anything. I was never a FIFA guy. And then he was playing Femi at FIFA. And he actually like started fucking him up at FIFA. And then Femi was like, "You're so bad that I can't predict anything that you're going to do." Yeah. So you just end up getting through stuff.
you like, I mean, I was at an event and I took a round off of Problem X. Now, Problem X is a world champion at Street Fighter. And I'm so shit, but he was just like, I don't know what this fucking jury player's doing. What in the... And to be fair, it was right near the start of the lifespan of Street Fighter 6, so no one really knew the game that well at this point.
It's cool during that period of time when stuff's like fresh, isn't it?
Well, this is it. It's like with Street Fighter, they do a very good job of the game being very different from one to the next.
It does seem like it. The fact that it's been
like Tekken stays the same.
So long. Yeah. Tekken was the one I remember, like, because when I was a kid, I remember like Tekken was the thing that I ended up playing.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that was like because it was on PlayStation or something, or because it was on Xbox or something like that.
Tekken wasn't the first 3D fighter, but it was the one that got really big, really quick.
Yeah.
Because it was on PlayStation, and PlayStation was the system at that time that took off.
Yeah.
Like, as much as I personally think the Saturn is a better machine.
Right. See, I don't even know what Saturn is.
So, it was
yeah.
So Sega Saturn was what Sega followed up the Mega Drive with.
But I had this conversation with Louise actually, and she didn't know this because she was at Sex CX Computer Exchange.
CX. Yeah.
Hate that name. Stresses me out. But yeah, she was saying about that apparently Americans call it
Genesis.
Like, yeah, and then it was like, but then I'd always known it just as the I didn't know Mega Drive was Sega.
Right, so there was a couple of Sega systems over in Japan before we got anything here. We got the Master System first, then we got the Mega Drive, which.
But didn't we just called them Sega though, innit? We just
Sega's the company, same as Nintendo.
Yeah, no, I know, but we was just like. But I swear that because I just remember going like the Sega.
No, it was the Master System or the Mega Drive.
Am I just doing that East London thing? Sega.
We just called it Sega. I mean, maybe you not in fucking Essex did. I don't know.
That's an injustice. It's not Essex.
Doesn't have a fucking compass point as a postcode. It's not London. Go fuck yourself.
I voted for the mayor until I lived up here. I voted for the fucking mayor. So I voted for Red Ken, and then
I bet you voted for fucking Boris as well, didn't you?
No, I didn't. I've never actually voted Conservative in my life, as much as people like to tell me that I have.
Do you know what? I'm absolutely I'm convinced that before Boris became actually dangerous, I honestly had this idea that, I don't know if it's true, but I felt that Boris got the mayor's job almost like a bunch of uni students had voted him in for a joke.
It was a laugh.
Yeah, it was like, he looks like a dickhead, like, let's put him in. And a bunch of uni students went, oh, wouldn't it be funny if Boris got in? That's what it felt like.
Yeah, it's like a sports day. I don't know if sports day was the same for you, but sports day was like the sports captain of each class would choose who did what events.
So my school didn't have sports captains as such. They just went, each class, we got a sheet, and people just put their name down for whichever.
And there's a free for all. Oh no, we had it. It was like assigned, but it was like almost tradition. The 100 meters was a serious race. The 200 meters was a serious race. 400 meters, the person who was least able to do that did that race, and it was like race of the.
So it was
like.
Because the 400 meters is a cunt of a race because it's
it's awful. I never did it though. I'm proud to say that I always got the throwing events because I weren't sporty. I'd go up to sports camp and like bang me into discus or something.
It was always the race where it's like it's too. Whenever we did it as like PE, they make it 400 meters. It was too fast of a race to sort of take your time around the first couple of 100 meters because everyone was motoring it, but it's too long to fully sprint.
Yeah.
So if you didn't get that right, you were fucked halfway round. You'd either left it too late and everyone was long gone, or you'd sprinted full out and was dead by the time you got halfway around the 300 metre mark.
But I've never in my life at sports day seen anyone who should have been doing that race do that race.
No. Did you ever do the steeplechase?
Might have been called something different, but I don't think so.
It's like,
what is it?
It's like with really, instead of normal hurdles, it's like really high hurdles, and then you've got the water jump.
No.
So
I never did any. I never had in sports day all through school. I never had to do any of the running events or anything during it. I was proud.
We used to have to do these as part of PE anyway, and in the build up to sports day. So the build up to sports day, we would do all the athletics events during the summer just to sort of learn them,
just to get good.
Yeah. And the steeplechase was a fucking nightmare because I wasn't particularly explosive in the athletics department, so jumping up onto them hurdles in the first place because it's not like they were normal hurdles, fine, but these were like up to your chest. You had to fucking climb up the bastards.
Yeah, that seems unfair. They should have just kept hurdles. You know what I mean?
And then the worst of it was when you got to the last one, there was a water jump. So you'd never clear the water. So now you're on your second lap, you're sucking up water as well.
Yeah, that's fucked up. There's got to be some trauma in there, right?
The Olympic version's 3,000 meters, but like in school we would only do like 3 laps. So it's like 1,600 meters, I guess. But fuck me, I hated that. Every time we do it as PE, I was like, fuck off.
You used to have to play rugby at school.
Yes.
Right, because that's the divisive thing. But then I'm assuming it was the same in your school where there was like a minority of kids that actually knew what rugby is or understood rugby, and then the rest of the people were just like, "What the fuck is this?" Because we was all football kids.
Yeah, so there's one kid that was really good at it. He's a massive kid, and he was just like, I was only good at rugby if you gave me the ball and I was propelled down the fucking field by fear. Right. you give my skinny ass the fucking ball and I would just run like fuck. I was like, you want to see someone do the 100 metres fast? Watch this shit.
Give me a rugby ball and I'm gone.
I'll make all them Jamaican sprinters look like fucking
just out of fear, out of adrenaline. I used to get there was like an A team and a B team, and we used to get forced to compete against the other schools from year 7 to 9, and then if I was in the B team at school, I was like, I don't know, I'd do all right. I was like maybe like the top third in the B team. I didn't understand the rules. I don't understand the rules. No one in the B team understood the rules properly. I knew that you could run forward and pass back. Cool. Go across the line.
That's pretty much all you need to know, in fact.
Yeah, but there's loads of random shit that just happens and you go like, what the fuck is going on? And then so I never knew. But then what would happen is that sometimes I get put in the A team and then that's like where people are serious. Yeah. And then so it was just like, and whenever I got like bumped up, I would just have this really shitty time. So I'd deliberately be as bad as I could be. And they'd put me back in the B team. And then I'd be like, my people, I'm back. And then I'd go, dink, ricochet between it. But you'd have to give up Saturdays and shit and go and...
See, I never competed for the school. I was just like, I can't be arsed. Like,
but you got in mind, you just got made to do it. Like, so you could even if you was like a substitute, you just on Saturday get forced to do it. And looking back, I'm like, the fuck?
My school, it used to be the football team was basically people that went to the after-school football club. And then they'd be picked out of that for who was good enough to be in the A on the B team or whatever.
Right.
But if you didn't go to the after-school football club or the after-school rugby club or anything like that, you weren't even up for selection.
Yeah, well, I wish mine was like that. Fucking hell.
And I just had no intent. Like, I was already at that point, I was fully in boxing and stuff like that outside of school. So,
Oh, yeah, because you've been big on martial arts and that as well, weren't you?
Yeah, so I had zero interest in. I didn't like team sports.
No.
I don't like. And this is, again, is why I play Street Fighter over, say, an Overwatch or something like that. When I'm boxing or when I was doing any of that sort of stuff, or when I play Street Fighter, it's me versus a person, and that's
yeah.
I can't be carried by a team if I'm shit, and I can't be held back by a shit team.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a team behind you in training or whatever, but at the end of the day, you've got to then go into that ring or in Street Fighter on that console, and you've got to perform there and then against that person.
Yeah,
it's kind of all on you at that point, and I've always preferred to be reliant on myself than having to worry about what everyone else around me is doing.
My thing was always badminton.
I can see that, you Tory bastard.
It's something, and I reckon there is no one in UKHC that could beat me at badminton.
I don't think anyone in UKHC probably even knows what badminton is.
Of course they do. You say, of course they do. Like, I'm the poshest person in this conversation, but I'm not the poshest person in UKHC.
No, that's true. That's probably true, actually. I mean, I know what badminton is because we used to have it at school. We also used to have tennis at school.
Yeah, I can't play tennis because I'm too good at badminton. So I'm used to the softness of badminton grip. So you put me in tennis, exactly. Just for context, John's doing undermining gestures with his hand.
I'm trying to think like other sports we used to do at school because we had basketball.
We weren't allowed to play that. We weren't allowed to play football either. My school thought it was fancy. Well, it was fancy actually. It was a state school, but it was a good one. And then, but as part of that, they was like, we don't play football. We play rugby. So we just weren't allowed. We don't play the most popular sport around the world. Yeah, it's fucked up, and no one knew how to play rugby because no one knew. So it's like, we just got made to do it. I remember one of my schools doing because obviously people that don't know, I went to one school and I got kicked out of there and sent to another school. What did you get kicked out for? Fighting. Funny. How's it? Yeah. I mean, I was 12, 13 at the time, and got into a scrap with one kid. Was definitely losing the fight, and happened to be landing on the floor next to an iron bar, so I just belted him with it a few times. Fair. Yeah, I can understand why you did it, and I can understand why they kicked you out. Basically, it was one of the things where I'd been in a whole bunch of fights anyway all the time. I was always seemed to end up in scraps, normally for somebody else's bullshit, but like it was always my face that was going up against the fucking head teacher and that. Yeah. And then there was that one incident, and it was just kind of, I think that was like the straw that broke the camel's back. He's like, not only are you fighting, now you've taken a fucking metal bar to someone's head. Yeah, and he's just gone, right, get this fucker out. Which is fair enough. But that school, funny enough, had judo as part of its PE curriculum. Oh. So we did like 6 weeks. Because I don't know if your school would have been the same, but we'd do 6 weeks of a sport, 6 weeks of a sport, and move around. No, we just do like random shit all the time. So we did like 6 weeks of football, then we'd do 6 weeks of cricket in the summer, and then we'd do 6 weeks of whatever. Maybe we did actually. And then we did like 6 weeks of judo at one point. That's cool. Cricket was fucking. I hated cricket. I like the idea of cricket. I check the scores of cricket. I don't fully understand the scores of cricket, but I know when someone's winning. I was better at bowling than batting. No, because I've got double jointed shoulders, but they pop out. When it gets to bowling, point, So bowling, it would suddenly pop and launch like not where it's meant to be going. I do remember batting once and smashing the ball accidentally straight into some girl's face, like at point blank range. Ooh. I think she was expecting me not to hit it, so she'd come forwards to catch it,
and I made a pretty good connection with it.
Yeah, it's a shame. You probably could have got a 6 out of that one. That's the one moment.
Just like,
But I never watch cricket. I never watch it, but I check the scores. Watching it's boring, but I like knowing if England's doing well.
so the only thing I can watch is the 2020 cricket. I can't watch like a fucking Lord's Test match or some shit like that. I can watch 2020.
No, it's just too much.
But I hate.
I really want to go to the darts. I really want to go, and I said to Gino about it before, and he was like, "No, I'm not going darts, but I want to go do that." I want to go and do that.
Did you ask Gino because all the fucking last order stuff is based around bullseye?
Well, maybe it's subconscious. Well, you'd think he'd be more up for it. You know what I mean? You like live what you do. You know what I mean?
Bullseye and Greg's. The entire last order's back catalogue.
I was talking to someone at work, and because people dress up to go to watch the darts and that,
which I find really weird because it's a fucking pub game.
Yeah, and people dress up and all of that. But I don't really want to dress up. But I want to be I think I want to be in the environment of that for about half hour and then just fuck it off. I think I want to be there for a bit.
It's like going to the fucking Crucible for the snooker for just 20 minutes.
Yeah, I don't want to do. Yeah,
sit there and be absolutely silent while Ronnie O'Sullivan destroys another 147 in 20 seconds, and then be like, I'm done. Whoa. I've seen it now. I'm off.
Yeah, but he said that he said that he went. Saw a group of people that was all dressed as Where's Wally, and he said to the guy, "Oh, I found you," and the guys just started on him and was going, "You think you're fucking funny, mate? You're not fucking funny," blah, blah, blah. Which I think is funny in itself. Imagine dressing as Where's Wally and then getting mad when someone makes the generic joke of "I've found you." But maybe that's his whole day. His whole day's been that, and that's the straw that broke the camel's back.
But then don't do it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think he should have dressed up as like, I don't know, the fucking Joker. If he's going to be all like, if you're going to be like
it's
that.
I was literally about to say, like, you go to Comic-Con. If people are cosplaying at Comic-Con, guess what's going to happen? People will come up and be like, "Oh, can I take a photo with you?" Especially if the costume's well done. Loads of people, like I see, whenever I live near the Excel Centre.
Next to it, innit? Yeah.
And we have the MCM Comic-Con twice a year, every fucking year. And the amount of I see some really good costumes done, I see some really bad ones, and I see ones that I have no fucking clue what they are because I'm like, that's some weird anime shit. I don't know what that is. I see a lot of a one with a guy with a chainsaw for a head these days. I have no idea what it is, but it's like a face with a chainsaw sticking out the front of it. I'm like, I saw loads of them last Comic-Con. I was like, what the fuck is this? But you'll see a lot of generic Deadpools. Yeah. And then you'll see a good one. You're like, okay, I can see why people are going up to that guy and asking if they can have a photo done with them.
I can respect it. If someone does it really well, I can respect it. And if someone does it really fucking badly, I can respect it. But anything in between, I'm like, nah. You know what I mean?
My biggest problem is the fucking... Normally, I'm going to work on the days that it's on. Which means I've got to get into the train with these idiots.
Do you ever dress up for Comic-Con?
No,
have you dressed up? No. Why not? If you're going to go to it, why not?
Two things.
If we went to the darts, would you dress up for that?
In a fucking tracksuit, perhaps.
That's not dressing up. That's your day to day. I'm going as me.
Yeah, exactly. But when it comes to Comic-Con, no, because I don't have the artistic talent to do that. I know what I'm good at. You know what I mean? And making shit like that is not what I'm good at.
Yeah, I suppose so.
It's funny, though, because obviously I've got, all my tattoos on my arm are Batman.
I didn't know that.
So people are automatically assuming that I'm going to Comic-Con, but I'm just going to work. I'm just no,
in Liverpool, what happens whenever there's a London team playing in Liverpool, people just decide that I am supporting that team when visiting Liverpool.
So whether it's Arsenal, Chelsea...
it could be anyone. And then they go, "You here for the football?" I'm like, no. I'm like, "I live here." And they go, what the fuck, you live here? I always get accused. Or they'll go, "Are you a Chelsea fan?" And I go, "No." And they go, "What, you're a Liverpool fan?" I go, "No, I live here." I'm a West Ham fan.
Yeah. That's a problem, isn't it?
They like West Ham, though. People up here like West Ham because we're not a threat. It's a working class
to be
club.
fair, like I went to the FA Cup in Cardiff, Liverpool, because I'm a Liverpool supporter.
Oh yeah, your dad is
that's
it?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, fine. That's fine.
So I went to the West Ham Liverpool FA Cup final where we won on penalties. It was 3-3. And the atmosphere was amazing because there's not that sort of weird inbuilt hatred between Liverpool and West Ham. It's just like, okay.
No,
it's all good. You know, I mean, I've always found West Ham to be a bit of a bogey team for us. Like, we seem to, at the worst possible moment, get you guys when we're on a good winning streak, and then we get you guys, and it's like...
I think, until recently, I think that's been the case.
Yeah, you've been like a bit of a bogey team for us, but...
whereas now it's like West Ham's just fucked. If we'd spoken yesterday, I'd be like, no, we're on to good things. Yeah. Then today, and so I haven't really spoke about football for about 2 years.
I mean, the thing is, like, I'm not the biggest football follower. It's there, it's in the background for me, and I do occasionally, like, I'll check in and see how Liverpool are doing, but it's not like I'm fucking let's go all the time. Like,
nah. It means a lot to me in some ways, and like with my dad and stuff. It's like,
do you find you've become more of a Londoner being in Liverpool, and more sort of like I've got to like make sure I don't lose my accent and shit like that?
Well, I think I'm too old to suddenly start picking up fucking a Scouse accent. Do you know what I mean? But then I don't know. Although I've picked up phrases and stuff, there's certain shit that just like wormed its way in. Like I've started saying like got on to blah blah blah. So I would say, like John got me onto Street Fighter, which is something that I never used to say. So I have picked that up.
Yeah, you'll pick up little things like that.
And I say sound way more than I did before.
I found it funny.
We say it, but not that much.
My dad would say northern phrases, but with a London accent.
Yeah. My dad does. So my dad does it with he'll have like certain Scottish stuff and certain sort of like Irish phrasing. Even though he's born here, but then it's from his parents that he's just picked it up and he doesn't realise. And so he'll like say like we, so like this we thing, blah, 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 blah. And it's just shit that just slips in there. Yeah,
my dad used to say like I a lot.
I'm
like, and I was always like, ain't that a Geordie thing as well?
Yeah, and he's like, no, how dare you?
Like,
it's only one. Kalima. Only one.
Just so weird. But like I found when I was like, even just as far as north of Milton Keynes, which is like what 50 miles out of London, I found myself, so I don't have an accent in Milton Keynes. Obviously, they just sound generic. But you sound generic.
Yeah, I know there's like after the war they moved loads of people there, didn't they?
Yeah, and it's just like, but I found myself very sort of like when I moved up there. It's not like grime was new, but it hadn't somehow caught on up there yet, quite.
Yeah.
So I moved up there in 2009.
Right.
Grime was big, but not everywhere big. Like, you know what I mean? Stormzy hadn't fucking played Glastonbury or shit like that.
No.
We're nowhere near that level yet.
I only realised with grime that, because I listened to grime before I listened to metal. I listened to, and it's just because it was obviously just going on around us. I wasn't like fucking fully immersed in grime, and I wouldn't claim to be. But then it's like, but at the time, if you was listening to stuff on phones and everything like that, it just was grime. But then you realise it's only when I went to like uni and stuff that you realise that like other people didn't.
Yeah, and this was it. So like I was up there, and they were like really like. The HMV that I was working at up there, they were really sort of scoff at like grime, because a lot of people that work in HMV are typically quite musical snobs a lot of the time.
Right.
When I say music snobs, I mean they're into well-known big bands, but they sort of, I like Radiohead.
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah, music.
Just like, go fuck yourself. Radiohead are shit. They're boring and they'll send me to sleep.
They've got some bangers, but you can't be a snob about them.
Yeah, exactly. But then, but there was a younger generation of Milton Keynes that were into grime.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, look, you need to get this shit into the shop because kids are asking for it.
The first CD that I bought was Dizzy Rascal.
Boy in the Corner.
No, it wasn't. It was I think it was Stand Up Tall single.
Okay. I can't remember.
Yeah.
That's.
Yeah,
I know the tune. But it's like,
backs up the wall.
but it's one of them things where it's like, I don't understand musical snobbery like that. Where I'm just like, why? If people like it, people like it. You don't have to like it. No one's saying to you, you've got to listen to
bullshit. Fucking bullshit. Bullshit. That's bullshit because you with hardcore.
No.
When it comes to that, you're one of the worst. You're like, no, it's new and I hate it.
No, not in the slightest. If it's not LBU, I don't like it and I hate it.
If it's from outside the M25, fuck that shit.
Did you see the thing Ross Took put up about me?
I think so.
So he put.
Yes. If it's outside the M25,
if it's outside the M25, if it doesn't have any of my mates on it or it's not LBU, I don't give a shit about it.
Yeah, that is. I used to be like that. I did.
That's very specifically just hardcore.
Right.
Like I listen to music of every fucking genre.
Yeah.
But with hardcore, it's like I've listened to loads of hardcore from all over the world, but now I've sort of got to that point where I know what I like.
Yeah.
You know, it's on Ruction Records, Stout, Wisdom in Chains, shit like that. I probably like it. Some of the early stuff that I loved, like Strife and Converge and things like that, I still follow those bands and like that. But like, I'm not really looking for a new band in hardcore because, to be fair, hardcore is pretty inflexible as to what it will do.
I don't agree with that. I don't think it is. I think it's like I think now it's just like, and I don't know. I think more recently, over the last like 5 years, I've started deliberately making an effort to give a shit, and I think that I think that we're spoiled in the UK. I think we're so spoiled for music, because like in the way that we have it so readily available. We have bands, we have massive shows so readily available.
Because we're the best at it. Just that music in general. Music in general, we're the best at it. Not just hardcore, not just metal, just music in general. We're the best at it. I
want to say yes to that, but I don't know if it's true.
Like, pick your form of music. We're better at it than you.
What, even hip hop?
Yep. I'll take Kalashnikov over Wu-Tang Clan. Same.
Just for the pride.
Well, we were saying something the other day, talking about like greatest of all time shit and all the rest of it. I was like, I can't put Wu-Tang in there. They've got one album.
Yeah, true.
They've got one like genre-defining album.
Yeah,
but they're never able really to follow that up.
But then what is there? I'm sure there's bands that have only got one album.
Yeah, there's loads of bands that have only got one album. That's why a band's got one album that they can't really ever follow up. I'm kind of like, do you give them that GOAT status? I don't know if you can.
Well, Joy Division, that's one, isn't it? They've only got one, haven't they?
That's probably because he's dead.
It's different reasons.
That sounds like Nirvana only gave us a couple of good albums. Yeah, but he didn't really get the opportunity to give you any more, did he?
Yeah, true. Yeah. Preferred the stuff he'd done at the end of his life. Yeah.
So, I mean,
yeah, fair.
Like,
but this with your thing with hardcore, I enjoy your attitude towards hardcore. I do enjoy it because it is funny, and you definitely know that it's funny in the way that you're like, if it's not LBU, if it's outside the M25, and my mate's saying it, I don't give a fuck. I enjoy it. But then,
it's funny, but it is kind of true. Or it's just like,
I know you.
But like
in Asia just now, for example, like I think that the overall quality of bands that are there are better.
And there's UK or America.
Well, both, I guess. I think it's like
because America, I find a lot of the shit's boring as fuck. Because it's the same generic shit over and over and over again.
I think there's loads of the American stuff that is like the best of it. I think there's loads of like American. the UK made punk, America made hardcore, right?
Well, America would argue they made punk because they would say the Ramones and all that is what started punk.
No, that's not true, is it? But then, so I think that what you've got, I think we're spoiled for it. We've got loads of it. I think that I think people like, I don't know. There's something like in the Asian scene that's out there. There is not one band that I saw that was shit.
Yeah.
Then they're just fucking incredible, and it's cool because they just sort of so in Vietnam, there's a guy called Hoi in Vietnam, and he's in a band that's kind of like a deathcore band, and he's in a band that's an emo band. And so for us, you'd be in one, wouldn't you? For us, you'd sort of go more like
that'd be separate things.
Yeah, because your identity is I am deathcore band, or your identity is I am emo band, and how can you possibly be in both of these things, right? But then for them, like Vietnam, you weren't necessarily allowed music.
The scene's so small that it is what it is, and everyone.
It's just new. It's just like new because they just like weren't up until a certain point. They just weren't music in the same way. Western music was blocked out, and then so suddenly this scene appeared, and then they're just like mixed bill. They all give a shit about what each other does, and they do stuff, and it's just fucking wicked. And then like in the UK, there's like bands in London that I've been adjacent to where I'll recognise the person and I won't even fucking speak to them. It's been like 15 years. They've been so fragmented.
I think the other thing as well, like it's fragmented, but also there's just so much music made these days that it's impossible to keep on top of all of it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
just spoilt with it as well. I think we're just sort of
I
mean, and I used to do it in London. I used to live fucking 20 minutes down the road from New Cross, and stuff would come up and I'd be like, oh no, fuck that. And I look back and I'm like, what the fuck was I doing?
And things, I mean, like, even RZA said, like, you know, since he's come over it, it's been overwhelming with the amount of shows.
Yeah.
All the time. Whereas we're just kind of like, well, if I miss them this time, they'll be back over next year and whatever. Especially being a Londoner.
I think maybe, because when he first came over, he came, because there was a Desolated show in Southampton, and I think that was like just when he came over. And then
he came over, did the Radio show, the last ever Radio show. That was his first thing he did in the UK.
Oh, okay. And he was like, yeah. And then he came, because he came down with May and Wheeze.
Yeah.
Down to that. And so I was hoping that we was going to be the first show that he came to. But apparently not.
No, sorry.
Fucked it.
But like, I do what you say. Like, we are complacent. There's so much going on over here that it's very easy.
Oh, that's what I was about to say. So from seeing him seeing his stories and stuff when he came over, and him just being like, today there is this show. So on Tuesday there's this show, and then on like Saturday there's this show. This is fucking mad. This is nuts. This is such a good scene. This is such a good city for music and stuff. And I realised, I was like, oh shit, that's right. Even Liverpool's scene is new. Yeah. There was an old one and now there is a new scene. And before, everyone went to Manchester and vice versa. Whereas now you get the Manchester people coming to Liverpool, and there is a Liverpool scene again. Counterculture Records, and there's a few others that off the top of my head I can't remember, and I feel bad.
Played a Scouse band, didn't they?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
And then there's there's a lot of good bands, and it's like the mixed bills thing. It's like, I know we all say it. It's become a bit of a thing that we all go, mixed bills are wicked, and then we never actually do it. But that's what they do here.
And that's the thing. Yeah. Like, down in London,
used it. In Radio, I used it.
We tried to do it. It became more and more harder as things went on. I think there is still a divide in the scene here. As much as I think we did a really good job of trying to like bridge that.
I think you think the Ruction nights, like Ruction was always like, I think people always thought Ruction was scary, but it's not, is it? And then like was it Pierre that was booking them shows? Like, did 12 Bar, would he be doing that? Was that Poppy? Or both of them?
I mean, Gino? When I first started going there, it was Matty.
Oh, it was Matty.
So 2006 to about, I can't remember when Matty Barr said he was done, he didn't want to do it anymore. But when he was done with it, then it became Pierre, and eventually Gino jumped in with him as well. It was Pierre, Poppy, and then Gino would jump in as well and help.
Because they'd always make an effort of putting. There'd be like a small band that was just like young people, and there was always an opener of like not our lot.
Yeah, I mean, like
that would become our lot.
When Matty was doing it, he'd put on some really strange bands.
Oh, but this is probably a good time for me to unveil my Matty confession.
Your massive secret.
My massive secret. Then how long is this? This is like, if anyone's got this far, if anyone's got this far, fair play to them. But yeah, I stole my stage moves from Matty, and
so
I emulate.
Staring at the amp in the back.
I didn't realise it was just because he was stoned. It's a certain like movement that he does, and then I remember seeing that and I was like, yo, that's fucking sick. And then so I deliberately stole the way that he moves. And I still do it now.
I mean, to be fair, so does he.
It's just a little bop. It's like this bop thing that's going on.
Yeah. The thing is, like, it works so well with 9 Bar because their music's so sort of groove heavy.
It's that offbeat stuff that they do. But then I style it in. I do that. It's a little mix of Lamb of God stance with the Matty bop.
The Matty Bar bop. Is that what we're going?
The Matty Bar bop. Yeah. I'm down for the Matty Bar bop. But yeah, so that's one of my.
There's his version of the Vossi bop is the Matty Bar bop.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of my guitar influences is Matty Bar's stance.
Fuck's sake. I'm trying to think what we were saying now. You've completely thrown me.
No, I'm good at doing that. That's the thing. I'll do it all the time.
But I was like,
if you want, we can just carry on talking about Matty Bar if you want. Oh, Matty.
We were talking about venues and who was putting on stuff at Ruction.
Oh yeah.
That's where we got from. Mm-hmm. Then I think that Gino was helping out as well. Because I remember we just started Radio when Gino also started helping Ruction at the same sort of time. And I remember him saying at one point, pretty early on in Radio, I was like, I don't know if I can do everything because I'm like in multiple bands, doing Ruction, and on Radio.
Yeah, he's very active.
He's all a bit mad. But he stuck out Radio, in fairness, you know what I mean? He was like, no, fuck it, this is good.
Yeah.
Let's carry on doing what we're doing. Mm-hmm. And then Ruction kind of lost the unicorn or whatever happened there.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
That's something I don't really know the details of. Obviously, Unicorn's now closed, so it is what it is.
No, it was before then, though, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, the other thing was like, Ruction had been a monthly show when it was at 12 Bar. It was every single month.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I wouldn't even fucking text people. You just turn up.
Yeah, like you didn't have to worry about it. Someone was going to be there that you knew.
Well, everyone was going to be there.
Yeah.
You know, it was just.
You might be missing the odd face. Like each month, you'd be missing 1 or 2 faces, but a majority of the people. Gino was always going to be there. Pierre was always going to be there. Matty was always going to be there.
Yeah, everyone.
DBS was always going to be there until he moved to Ireland and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The same crowd of people were always there, and then when it went to the Unicorn, it became one every 2 months.
Yeah,
and
it wasn't as and it was a bit like. Obviously, the 12 Bar was central, so wherever you you get to it and it's fine. But then even when it started being Camden, it's like it's fine. Obviously, Camden's but if you're from East and if you're from even further east in the London Borough of Essex, it just adds so much time on it that you're like fuck. Whereas if you're in Central, wicked.
Yeah,
I miss that place.
The only problem I used to have with the Unicorn was the walk from the fucking station.
Yeah.
It's not even a complicated walk, it's just a straight line, but it's like...
No, it's just a bit long.
Where is this place?
Yeah.
New River Studios is the worst for me.
I've only been there once.
It's in the middle of like an industrial estate. It's fucking miles... It feels like it's miles away from anything.
Is it south of the river?
Yeah, I think it is. Fuck.
Because I went there once. I think I went there once when it was Gino's band played. I can't remember which band it was, but that's when I went.
Probably
might have even been Proven.
No, we never played there.
Did you not?
I don't think it was a venue in Proven about, or it might have just popped up. Because Proven played mainly 12 bar in London.
But I swear I've seen you. New Cross. Have you played New Cross?
We played, the last show we did was New Cross.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
We did a lot of, all our London shows were either opening for US bands at the Underworld.
Yeah.
The 12 bar, various versions of the 12 bar.
Yeah.
And the Unicorn. And then like New Cross or outside of London sort of thing. Like, I think we played the Concord, what used to be the Purple Turtle, the Concord.
Oh, yeah.
We did that because it was 9 Bar's 20th anniversary.
I think I went to that.
Remember that. Because that's where the Sound Man issue that we were talking about the other day came from.
Oh, no, I went at that then.
Mr. Breed 77.
No,
yeah. I don't know the guy's name, but he's a sound guy. He used to be in a band called, or he's technically, I suppose, still in a band called Breed 77. And that's where we'll leave that conversation.
Yeah, I went there.
Yeah, that was a good night in the end. It was just, there was a couple of issues during the night, but yeah.
Other than that, great night out.
Yeah, it was a good night.
For everyone involved.
Yeah.
A wholesome place of hardcore brotherly love. As it should be. And
I think the first time I went to the Purple Turtle was like a TRC release show when they did Destroy and Rebuild.
The Purple Turtle, what was great about it is there was a bench. There was a bench just around the corner outside.
Yeah.
That was wicked. Love a good bench. Ill-cotch spot, as it was. Every venue needed it.
That was the advantage of the Unicorn, was it had all the benches outside.
Well, but the Unicorn took it too far. There was no incentive to go inside at all at the Unicorn. Which is bad.
Not even the bands that are playing.
Nah. We're spoiled, man. I told you.
No, they weren't from London, they weren't Ruxton, they weren't LBU, so they didn't go inside.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's just one of them. Actually, I remember my first show that I went to outside of London. That was one of the earlier Outbreaks. It was when Knuckle Dust played it.
Is that when Outbreak was actually a hardcore festival and not a fucking commercial
joke? I would argue that it still is a hardcore festival.
Really?
Yeah. That never books Desolated. Hopefully they will. Please book.
They won't, because they're only interested in American bands and a bunch of fucking university backpack hip hop bullshit.
Although I was at the one, so I think genuinely, I do think it's fucking cool, and it's like there's hardcore bands, and I went there and I saw Denzel Curry, and I was like, oh, that's kind of mad. Earl Sweatshirt, I always liked the Earl Sweatshirt. I see him.
The thing is,
there was hardcore bands played it. Loads of the Scottish bands play it.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, I don't. It's that thing where it's like, it grew off the back of UK hardcore, but there's definitely a couple of years now where they haven't repaid that back to UK hardcore. I mean, there was that one year where there was like one UK band on the entire thing. They got called out on it, so they quickly made up a Thursday pre-show fucking event.
Oh, really? I missed that. That's pretty funny.
There was one year where, it was only a couple of years back, where TS Warspite were like the only UK band on the bill.
Wow.
And it was like, what the fuck? And people literally called them out on it on like Twitter or X, whatever the fuck it is.
Oh, actually, this does ring a bell.
And suddenly there was a Thursday pre-show that had a bunch of UK bands playing it. And I was just like, oh yeah, planning that all along, were you? The fuck you were.
No, it should have UK hardcore bands on there. But then I think in many ways a lot of like.
I think of it now as just like a sort of alternative to download.
No, but it's not. But there's something with, like, when you go, there is this like, it's almost like it's like a weird hardcore reunion. And it's like, so for me, it was like whenever I went, it's just like loads of people that I haven't seen in fucking years. And then I go, oh shit, I haven't seen you in years. Are they the kind of people that only go out to one show a year? Well, it is now because everyone's getting old, isn't it? We're all getting old, and so we're getting
Mate,
older.
I'm older than a lot of you fuckers, and I go to a bunch of shows.
No, I know, but then you'll go to them in London, and then say like someone's from Nottingham or something like that, and then I'm not in Nottingham. It's like it's almost like an airport of hardcore. Do you know what I mean? It's like everyone's all the connecting flights for that.
I'm never gonna turn up at an Outbreak show these days. I have zero interest in it.
But I went the year as well where there was like all they used a different venue and all the there was like piss everywhere and shit like that. And that was fucking butters. Yeah, that was only a couple of years back, wasn't it? Yeah.
Was that because that was the year that like the Hardlaw guys did a podcast from it?
I didn't see that.
They did an episode of their podcast from it.
Were they talking about piss?
They were talking about that, yeah. So
yeah, yeah. It was like I ended up like I just called it. It was like the second day, and I was like, no, fuck this. And but all the like Rory and his like Prowler Rory, loads of his lot. He was where is he from? He's from like slightly northwest, isn't it?
Yeah.
We just bumped into all of them, and then we just sort of fucked it off and just went out. But whilst I was there, it was good. Then it just got a bit too pissy for me, so I dipped.
Yeah, it's like my opinion on it is it's just like an alternative version of Download. It has more of a hardcore slant than a metal slant, but it is now at that point where it's basically like a Download type thing.
Yeah, and it's a shame that there's not like a replacement for the sort of smaller thing that it had before. Do you get what I mean?
Be. Like, it won't happen overnight, but there will be. Like, maybe it's the cut and run guys will come up and start doing a fest as they get more and more confident in what they're doing. You know?
Yeah, that would be cool.
I think they've got like a show announced for August. It's like their second anniversary of putting on shows, and I think that's looking like an all-dayer type thing.
That's how it goes, isn't it?
So as they get, like we did an all-dayer. The first big thing we did as Radio was an all-dayer for Cold Hard Truth's 10th anniversary.
Yeah, yeah.
And then that went well, so we went, right, we'll do the fest and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
And I was shitting bricks every time we did a fest because I wasn't sure if it was going to sell.
And then that's it, fucked, innit? If it don't, that's essentially game over, right?
Which is why I'm glad we had the first year of just doing one big show.
Yeah.
And a bunch of other little shows, so we build up a bit of money behind us.
Yeah.
So if it goes tits up, we've got some money in a bank account somewhere to be like, okay, we can chill out of that sort of thing. But every festival was predicated on we've got this much money in the bank behind us, plus ticket sales.
And then that can be like the float, innit, of keeping it going.
It was just like, because literally all four of us were broke. None of us were swimming in fucking money. You know what I mean? We started that with £25 each.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which is mad, isn't it? It's it's cool. I think Donfest came back. I was doing bits. Wrong Side Fest.
That's good. Adam Kelly's thing, isn't it?
Adam Kelly's thing, yeah.
It's like his birthday. He has it around his birthday, so it's like a big birthday show / fest, isn't it?
Oh, I didn't even think of that, but no, I think you're right because it was.
Yeah, I think he started it as like a birthday show.
And that was Wrong Side. That was my first Last Wishes show. My first and currently only Last Wishes show was Wrong Side. But then that one, that was wicked. That was good. And then Counterculture did an all-dayer, moving and grooving, getting shit done.
Yeah.
My perspective is very northern right now.
Like I say, there's obviously Damage is Done Fest down here.
Yeah.
Which is like Ola's lot.
Mm. Yeah, I've never been to it. But I think it's. But then I don't know. When did that start? Was that after I left London?
I think. Well, this one, the one that's coming up now, is called 4.5. So I'm guessing there's been at least 3 or 4 before it. Yeah, one a year. So there's been at least 3.
It's nuts, isn't it? These weren't on my horizon as such. Yeah, it should be, shouldn't it? Because it's fucking. But this is what you were saying, isn't it? Things were being fragmented.
This is the division. It's like, you know, I only knew about sort of quality control and stuff doing that like that because we were promoting it. It was like we didn't want clashes.
Yeah, and
so
I heard it.
Is them doing a fest and we're doing a fest, and
because it's a label, isn't it?
Quality control's a label, yeah.
Yeah, because I
Damage
see
is
stuff
done.
coming out.
Damage is
The
done.
festival of the label.
Yeah, it's the festival. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because I see stuff coming out on Quality Control.
Yeah, it's the one thing people said to us before. Is like, why don't you do a Red UI Records?
Yeah.
And I was just like, because I personally don't see a place for a record label a lot of the time these days.
No, I think it's yeah, I see what you're saying. Just
like, I was talking to Lewis Dow on the episode he did, and it's that sort of thing of like, at the level of bands that where I think of like at our level sort of thing.
Yeah.
I always think, well, just put it. You can put shit on Spotify and that yourself these days.
Do it yourself, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's only when you get to a certain point do you start really needing. If you want to go to that next level, you start looking at a label and a management and all that sort of shit. But it's like you're pushing a certain boundary.
Yeah.
And if you're like me, who does this for fun,
and
only ever wants to do it for fun, I'm not looking to be like, oh, I've got to be on Spotify playlists and all this shit.
Yeah. I think there's like an element of it. There's like, so like with, I don't know. So like with Desolated, everyone, like, it's no one's job. Like, no one is like, the job is fucking Desolated. Like, it's not. And so it is for fun, but then it's also like, I don't know. It's like, it's not meant to be big. Like, we don't want to be Slipknot, but then it's cool seeing loads of people moshing to your band. So like Your Demise in Asia, it's like, it's cool seeing people. I think it's like not wanting to be big. It's just wanting to be like, I don't know. It's having good shows, isn't it? It's like a good show is a thing, but then when you break it down, it's like, oh, we want people to like us.
so some of my best shows though were at the 12 bar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't need a lot of people. I just need a good vibe.
Yeah,
at the place, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I would rather like it's finding that like small venue that's like smallish or / big enough that ends up full, and then everyone has a fucking sick time.
I mean, when Proven played the original 12 bar, there was like, there's not enough room for you all on stage. There's 6 people in that band.
No.
And both singers are in the pit because that's what it is. But the vibe in that place, we played our first show at the Unicorn, but we played our first proper 12 bar show. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Because people didn't really know us at that point. We'd played like one show before and we had the little demo CD out, but people didn't really know us.
No.
Apart from our close mates. Like, you know, the LBU lot knew us because we were boys with them.
Didn't you just do a split? We did a split with
Tirade, yeah, that was the second release. We did the demo, the Benediction demo, and then we did the split with Tirade.
Yeah.
But when we did that split, when we did the Benediction demo, that was fucking nuts, that show at the 12 bar.
Yeah,
like
cool,
ammo just steaming around, like wiping people out.
Yeah.
And it was just like, this is fucking nuts. And me and Louis literally have nowhere to go because it's just like...
Yeah, you're just there.
You're in the pit and you're just like, well, I've got one arm up here protecting my face and I've got a mic in my mouth and let's fucking go.
Yeah. I played it once. I've only played it once.
What, the old 12 bar?
The old 12 bar, yeah.
Who was that with? Caliber?
Caliber, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's fucking cool. It's cool being up there because obviously I've seen it all on like, you see it all on YouTube videos and stuff beforehand.
Yeah.
So before I even went there, I'd seen videos of 12 bar. It's like this ominous place, the 12 bar. And you sort of know the history of it and all that. Sick. The same as well with Underworld. I wish there was more shows at Underworld. I'd love to play Underworld again.
I think Underworld as a promoter, when we looked at it, it was quite expensive to hire out. But if they're doing in-house stuff, then it doesn't matter so much, obviously.
No.
But yeah, it would be nice to put on, like, see more hardcore shows there.
That's like one of my, like...
We used to be able to fill it out. Like, there used to be a time when you could put a UK hardcore show on in that building.
Yeah.
And you do well. You not necessarily sell it out, but you do well.
Yeah.
You know.
But then like hardcore is the biggest ever been right now. Yeah. And then so I do think like with our bands as such. I know it's sort of like, I know I'm not really in our bands anymore.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? But I'm obviously still am us. But I do think there's like, I don't know, there's a bit of a reach thing where people just like, I think people like King Street and stuff are reaching out. Low Life are reaching out.
Yeah.
beyond it. But then I just think, obviously, Knuckle Dust and Bundle Out and all that is different, and it 9 Bar, same thing.
Yeah.
But then it's sort of like it's so readily there. People are so ready to listen to like the older people from the scene and their bands and stuff like that. But I just don't know what it is.
It's strange because every time like I sit and go, I want to do a new band. There's a part of my mind is like, I'm 46 years old. These kids are not gonna give a flying fuck what I've got to say on stage anymore. Like, why the fuck are they going to listen to a nearly 50-year-old guy?
Yeah.
But this generation, props to them, they do want the old guy still around.
I think it's an exchange, isn't it? I think the whole thing's an exchange. Like with hardcore, it's like you like, I know it sounds really fucking cheesy, but you like, if you put in, you kind of receive, and it's sort of, and I think people see that and see through stuff, and you see certain bands appear. You see bands appear that you just sort of like, you see through and you go, I fucking, I'm not going to like name people and that, but you just sort of go like, I know what you're fucking doing.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I'm not blind to the bands that you think are going to use hardcore to bump up to something else later on in life. You know, we've seen it in the past, we'll see it again. It's always going to happen with something. Because when I think about that sort of metal festival scene, I don't know what the entry level point is for that. It seems to be these days come through the hardcore scene.
Yeah, I think people give a shit about hardcore in a different way to. I don't know. It's more that it's like we start seeing Knocked Loose on fucking what is it?
Jimmy Kimmel, wasn't it?
Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah. I mean, I hate Knocked Loose. Fucking absolute bollocks, mate. It's new metal. It's new metal with a hardcore twinge.
Well, I fucking love new metal, so maybe that's what it is.
It's that thing of like, you can see these are kids that grew up listening to your Slipknots, your Linkin Parks and stuff like that, and then somehow found hardcore along the way and merged the two.
But then you can also, but surely to be able to see like what is a hardcore band from the hardcore scene, being at that level of doing that, you must go, yo, that's kind of sick that they've done that. You're like the gatekeeper purist.
No, because like, I mean, I have to at least like your music, and I don't with Knocked Loose. I don't like his voice.
Like, I know that it's like Marmite, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the same with Converge. I get why people don't like Converge, because that guy's vocal is very high pitched screaming. I'm just like, look, I get it. It's not going to be for everyone. That's fine.
Yeah.
And I think there's this thing that, like, I've been talking about this with games and films and everything. People think of me as this gatekeeper with hardcore and all the rest of it. I don't necessarily think it's true. I like what I like, and I'll tell you that I think what you like isn't good.
Yeah.
But I still be like, you're entitled to like it. Like, you know,
you don't
like it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'll tell you I think it's shit, and I'll tell you why I think it's shit. But if you like it, you like it. It's why I don't believe in this whole guilty pleasure thing. If I like something, I like it.
Yeah.
You know, and that applies to all. But it's the whole thing of like, you know, I can look at a piece of, like a film, for example, and know that on a very fundamental level, it's a piece of shit. Yeah. But I like it, so I don't care.
What was that film with Snoop Dogg in the plane? Surely that's like a guilty pleasure film, isn't it? That's dog shit. Soulfly. No.
Soul Plane.
Soul Plane.
Is it Soul Plane? It's Method Man.
Yeah, I think so.
I've bizarrely not actually seen it.
Wicked though.
Yeah, but this is it. Like, I mean, I grew up on 80s slasher films. Fundamentally, most of them are crap. But I enjoyed them. I still enjoy watching them. Do you know what I mean? Like, but there's a thing these days where people, if someone likes something, they have to say it's good. They can't turn around and go, I like this, even though I know it's shit. They have to find a way of defending it and be like, no, it's a 10 out of 10 release. It's like, it's clearly not, is it?
But then there's a guy, for example, called Timothy Lacoste, and he makes music that's very like beep boop sort of music.
Yeah.
And then you could argue that it's bad music, but it's not. Like, it kind of slaps. even though it's kind of like if you analyze it, you're like, fuck. But
yeah, so
like,
from a purely objective point of view, you'd go, it's not good. But from a subjective point of view, it's good.
Yeah.
You know, and it's very difficult with art to break it down objectively, obviously, because it's art.
Yeah, it's true.
But everyone says it's all subjective. It's like, no, because you can see, like, you listen to music, you can tell good production from bad production.
Yeah.
That's objectively a thing.
Well, although, no, but then,
you can
but that's something that we like argue about all the fucking time, isn't it?
You can subjectively go, I prefer this or that. Like some people subjectively like the bad production of black metal.
Yeah, I think it's fucking dog shit.
But it's objectively not very well produced.
Yeah.
Unless you're talking like your Dimmu Borgirs and stuff where it's all operatic and shit like that.
Oh, that Dimmu Borgir is fucking sick.
That's on the other end of the scale where it's like incredibly well produced.
Death Cult Armageddon, one of the best albums ever made.
Right, I'm not a big fan of it. But
and there's a video where they played to an orchestra. And I reckon you'd watch that and be like, yo.
Yeah, this is like, I can appreciate what it is. Even if I don't like it, I can go, you know what, I get that that's good. I understand why people like it. There's like, there's that whole
that's you with Knocked Loose. You're just like, you guys over there do your thing.
Yeah, I get why other people like it. I personally think it's dog shit.
Yeah, it was like beatdowns and shouting and shit. It's just everything does everything on the tin, doesn't it?
It's just like
does what it says on the tin. It doesn't judge everything on the tin.
You know, it is what it is. You know, it's over there. It's fine. Cool. You do. You like that. You want. Same as I have an opinion of religion. I fundamentally am not religious. I despise religion. But you have the choice. If you want, but I will defend your right to believe in it. Absolutely.
Oh, I'll just make sure that everything is just a Catholic matter for me. Always enters in here. Everything I do, Catholicism is in there. And then sometimes I'm so deep. Yeah, of course I was. And I'm so deeply entrenched that even though sometimes I'm like, I'm not religious, and I'm like, but what if God thinks this? And I think I am. But I think that's a part of Catholicism, isn't it?
Yeah, guilt.
It sticks around.
Guilt and blame.
But my blood is Catholic.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't brought up with any religion at all. So I've always been, as a result of that, quite anti-religious in the sense of like, I genuinely think it's all bullshit. But if you are Catholic, if you are Muslim, if you are...
Go to hell for saying that, just so you know.
I am literally like, I will defend your right to believe in that. You know what I mean? I will not see someone slagged off or whatever, or attacked or whatever for their religious belief. You know what I mean? Like, no. They're entitled to believe in that if they want to. That's their life, their choice, all the rest of it. I just think it's bollocks. And that's kind of how I address a lot of things. It's like music,
like bands outside of the M25.
Yeah, like I haven't heard Blade, but they're not from London, so they're probably bollocks.
Oh, but no, Blade is so sick. Honestly, you've just got a fella that wears like a balaclava and shit, and he moshes hard.
They're playing down here soon, I think.
Oh, wait, hang on, my headphones have just died. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, actually, probably better.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Jokes. Hang on, let me plug these in then. But then, yeah, you just got a fella who's a hard mosher, and every good band needs a hard mosher. It's the sad truth. And then, yeah, they're just like, it's just hard.
Yeah, I mean, I've not checked.
And I don't know them. That's the thing. I don't want to know them either.
I think they're playing down here with Cruelty soon.
Are you going to go and see it?
I might do, because Cruelty headlined a couple of shows for us when we were doing radio as well, so it might be.
Which like, Cruelty? Because there's two Cruelties, isn't there?
Cruelty with a C from up north in the UK, not Cruelty from...
Not the Japanese one.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, you should check them out. I reckon you'll watch and you'll go, yo, that's really hard.
I'm happy to check them out. But then I'll be like...
It depends if you like...
M25.
Yeah, they're very much from outside the M25.
But you're Scousers, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
I mean, I do have Scouse blood, so I can kind of give them a bit of a pass, I guess. Like
You're a fucking Liverpool fan, man.
Like the Blades of Unity were a Scouse band. I gave them a bit of a pass.
That's because you were young.
Yeah, I wasn't quite as like set in my ways.
You was less jaded.
But I mean, definitely need to check them out. But yeah, that's pretty much us now because I'm really fucking tired.
Yeah, innit?
I've been at work all day, so like, nice to catch up with you anyway, Les.
Yeah.
Where were you on tour with Desolated?
When or where?
Well, when and where?
All over Europe.
All the dates, every venue. Come on, let's go. The entire itinerary. Know it off the top of your head. Go.
And oh fuck. Although there's show in London. I said before. I think I messaged everyone about it. I want to get.
Well, tell everyone on the podcast now, because like, what venue is it? Tell the people on the podcast because you messaged me about it. Like,
put me on the spot, man. Brixton something.
Go to the Desolated page and it'll be
go
on there.
Tell them.
Follow Desolated on Instagram, and there will be a fucking post of the tour.
But you'll have to grab the picture and zoom in because it's written too small, so you can't properly see it.
I think I noticed that the other day when I was looking at it. I was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you just have to proper fucking. That's why I don't know it. But no, that's it. Yeah, so we're going on the end of the month until the beginning of March, and I'm looking forward to it, providing that I can spend that amount of time with Tony.
Because Tony's just that much of a character.
Yeah, and I reckon I've done about 4 days with him before without having a needlessly heated argument. So hopefully 32 days to go really swimmingly well.
So yeah, you could. And what about Your Demise 2004? Any plans with that now? Or
we are. Well, we were just sort of like it's more fun for fun's sake.
Yeah.
And then so we're seeing what the crack is. We've had lots of messages off the back of that tour, and so we're working it out. And then Last Wishes we're writing. Got a few shows coming up. Can't remember off the top of my head, but they're about.
I forgot you joined Last Wishes as well. I forgot you joined Last Wishes.
Yeah, Renee as well.
Yeah, even though
Renee was doing Your Demise as well, 2004.
Nice. Cool.
And then so it's a few bits.
So yeah, you can follow Desolated and Last Wishes certainly on Instagram. Your Demise 2004.
Your Demise 2004, bruv.
Yeah, that's it. I have seen it. Yeah.
So
yeah, you can follow the bands over there. You can find out where this is going to be on tour. And until next time, guys, we'll see you next week. Take care.
We also have the Your Demise 2004, but we prefer Your Demise 2004, bruv. So we actually have both the Instagrams, but we.
Good job reminding you. But yeah, Les, thanks for the time, man.
No, it's been a pleasure.
And everyone else, we'll catch you next week. Thanks.
Nice one.
Take care. Bye.
Right.